Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the, just the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This week, in the old mining town of Dayton, Nevada, an open and shut case turns out to be not so open and shut. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, and welcome to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on another insane edition of Small Town Murder. This is crazy today. Honestly, this case, I can tell you, I had no idea what I stumbled into. Yeah. Found a case. It's not even on like Murderpedia. It's very, I was looking through court records and found this case, and it just unravels and unravels. And this is a case that if we were, say, journalists or something like that, we would break this. We would break this into if we wanted to seek justice in the world and things like that. Yeah, change lives rather than just make comedy. We would make this into a 10-part series, and we would go to Nevada like twice a week and talk to people. And this could be serial. This is this is a better story than Serial.
All right.
So this is but we can't do 10 parts on it. Unfortunately, we're not going to do that.
I'm not going to make that trip.
We're not going to fly to Nevada.
It's hot enough here.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Go there,
and especially this place we're going.
Just as hot.
Don't worry about it. But we'll get to that. It's a crazy case.
Is it a radiation zone, like one of those fucking places?
It probably. It's one of those where it's probably they don't tell you it is, but it's there. Okay. Watch out. You're like, why do all my kids have cancer? I don't understand it. I don't. I didn't grow up here. We moved here, had 3 kids, all have cancer by 5. That seems odd. No cancer in my family.
Right.
All my neighbors' kids have cancer. It seems like a problem. But thank you folks so much for your iTunes reviews this week. They are enormously helpful to us. We've said it before, and we'll say it again, but they're so huge with these charts, the way the iTunes charts work. It's their funky algorithm. It's not us. We don't care about, we tell you, don't waste your time. It's fine, but you have to waste your time because it helps on the business end. So if you haven't done it, head over to iTunes, give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. If you want to be a producer of ours, a spectacular superstar, like the fine list of folks that we have at the end of the show, our favorite people, you can do that very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports, which is our other podcast, which I don't know why you're not listening to if you're not, because it is, you don't have to like sports. We promise you that. Also, you can make a one-time donation over at PayPal using our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com, and go over to shutupandgivememurder.com to get all your merchandising needs, shirts, and everything like that. Also, to check out the upcoming tour dates, which we can announce the cities right now, but not the dates.
And if you'd listened to Crime and Sports, you'd already know that.
You would have known it 2 days ago. So listen to Crime and Sports. It comes out earlier. You get news and information. I like that
on
too.
Facebook too. When
Where's that
like,
information? It's on Crime and Sports. You should listen.
Had you listened to that? Don't tell me that you listen, fucker.
That's right. You didn't hear shit, did you? But
the numbers are great for it.
Yeah.
Just this one is so much more.
So much more. Yeah.
It's
like
crazy.
More than twice as many. So it's, well, we will be going. We'll start out our home city of Phoenix. We have a show here. We will be in San Francisco, Portland.
Yeah.
Seattle.
You betcha.
Seattle, Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Detroit.
It's going to get colder and colder.
Oh, man. Cincinnati.
Yes.
New York.
Yeah.
Boston.
That's true.
Back in Philly once again, because that was awesome. We had a fun time there.
Atlanta.
Yeah. D.C.
You betcha.
Did we say Cincinnati?
I think we did.
Cincinnati and Houston and Dallas.
And don't you dare forget
Texas.
Denver
And of course, I'd let you. No, I wasn't letting you close with Denver because I knew you're very excited about Denver. That's
fucking great.
Yeah, Denver. So we're going all around. We might have missed one, or one might get chopped off of there before next week when it officially comes out.
Right.
But those are the cities. Sorry, Florida. Sorry, Kansas City. A lot of people came from from both of those.
Missouri and Florida are
we
both
want to be
going to
there.
happen.
They'll be there, but we can't do everything at once. It's this is like October to right before Christmas, so we can't go through Christmas and everything.
Somebody said like some tiny ass town in Tennessee, and they seemed genuinely shocked that we're not going.
Huh? Lynchburg? No, Lynchburg?
How
that
dare
happen?
you?
Y'all ain't coming to Beaver Falls? I mean, I figured y'all would come there.
Asheville, Tennessee is great. Listen, I've heard of Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah, I don't know
That's the
what
only
you're
one.
talking about. Disclaimer quickly. This is a comedy podcast.
True.
Sorry if you don't think true crime and comedy belong together, you're probably not going to like this podcast. Although, don't expect it to be horrible and horrific and us making fun of victims of horrible crimes, because we don't do that. No. We go out of our way to make sure to not mock the victims or the victims' families because we're assholes. But we're not scumbags, and that's the facts of the matter here.
If you want to take a chance and hang with us, please
it's fun.
do.
You're going to have a good time. We're going to have fun. Relax and open up.
This moment, you're fucking complacent.
That's right. You're in it.
Complicit.
You're complicit, not complicit. Well, actually, if you sat there and didn't do anything, then you're complacent and you're complicit in your complacity. So, you complicit bastards, let's get to this.
Yeah.
And I know what you're saying right now. It's obvious.
Yeah,
it's
please
time.
Shut up, James.
Shut up and give me murder. And let's do it, Jimmy. Let's go on a trip, shall we? Oh, boy. We're going out west this week. We've been back east. Now we're going out west. We're heading out to Nevada for the second time.
Fantastic.
Remember Sun Valley, Nevada, the world's largest trailer park.
That was tough.
That was a tough one here. We're back in Nevada. We're not too far from Sun Valley, actually, here. We're in Dayton.
That was so early in this, too.
Yeah, that was
like
back.
number 2 or something.
No, that was later. I think it was in the 20s.
Was it shortly after Tahoe?
I think it was in the 20s, probably, because if we did California, then I would have spaced out Nevada. I
don't
think.
remember.
So,
I think it was
like that.
Fucking super early though.
But it was in the middle. Yeah, some toward the beginning of it. But Dayton, Nevada. We're going to Dayton, like Dayton, Ohio, of course, because no one has any originality.
And name a shitty place in Nevada after
another shitty place. So everyone from Dayton, come over to Cincinnati and see us when we're there in the fall.
And tell us Dayton isn't that bad.
Tell us it's not that bad, and offer proof, because I think then that's when the conversation will stall. Yeah. What's the proof of that? It's good. I grew up there.
I live there.
They got a minor league hockey team that's fantastic. A lot of fun. Come to the games.
Just because we have tolerant people that will laugh at dark things there.
Well, and then you're good in our book.
That doesn't make Dayton a great place.
No, not a good city.
The people can be amazing.
We'll take the city and we'll take the people and we'll bring them to another city where they can watch our show.
Go be amazing in some place that is amazing.
Well, this place is in western Nevada, not in Ohio. Western Nevada, over by near the California border there, and that kind of the county borders California.
Smack dab in the middle of it?
Yeah, it's in the middle, right before it slants.
Piece. Oh, okay,
it goes. There's a vertical piece of Nevada on the western side, and then it cuts in down toward Vegas with that slant in, toward the east, diagonal turn.
I saw it on the other side.
No, he's like, shit, it goes that way to this way. This is right there, kind of on the bend, the elbow of Nevada, of western Nevada, if you will. It's about 6 hours and 45 minutes to Vegas in a car, so it's a trip to Vegas. Don't think this is like, hey, we're taking a trip to the casino for the weekend. This is farther away from Vegas than we are in Phoenix.
Good Christ.
This is far. 45 minutes to Reno, more of a Reno thing. 20 minutes outside of Carson City.
Yes.
So this is considered like, a suburb of Carson City, which is sad.
Yeah.
That shouldn't have any suburbs. About an hour to Sun Valley, which is the last one we were here. It's in Lyon County, Lyon.
Okay.
Lion, obviously named after a person and not a thing or a beast.
Not the pyramid
Not
either.
the pyramid. Zip code's named after it's Luxor County we're in right now. MGM.
Right. I think
Parish.
it's MGM that has the tigers, right? Or
They
those
have the
are lions.
They have the lions, yeah.
And tigers, too, I
Luxor's
think.
got Egyptian shit and pyramids and all that.
But the
Do they have
MGM
lions?
also has the white tigers that ate
Do they?
Siegfried.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's them, though.
Yeah.
That's
they
basic.
drug those fuckers in there.
I don't think do they have them still?
I don't know. I hope so.
I hope that they
It's hungry by
hope
now.
they cleaned it up. What is that? Some
I'd watch that. That's the only way I'm
tendon
watching
dangling
that.
from its canine? I don't like that. Zip code here, 89403, area code 775. It's a big area, 31.7 square miles.
Yeah.
So another big, small town, another big place with not a lot of people in it.
Of course.
And it's spread out. Some of these places look like, the houses look like, when I was looking for the real estate report, it looks like you're watching The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Like there's just this...
Lots of ranch-style shit.
Well, there's nothing around it. It's not like your neighbor's right next door. It's just like this ranch with like this open space all around it. It's just, it looks like Lee Van Cleef is going to come up and threaten your family any minute now. That's a deep, good,
I imagined.
Good, bad, and the ugly reference there. Motto, their motto that they put out is, quote, Nevada's oldest town.
Well, no,
but
is it?
The rest of the state has a different motto for it. It is, these people are fucking liars. They're not the world's, Nevada's smallest town. So their motto's a lie right away. So
it can't be their oldest town because
it's close. Then they switched it then to Nevada's oldest community.
Okay.
Like there was people here before you had, and they really tried to parse semantics at that point.
But
like,
then
come
when
on.
you do that, then
what,
it's
are you
like,
running for Congress? Get the
no,
fuck out
it's
of here.
not because there was natives there first.
Oh, well,
and
that's
a
obvious.
fucking
There was
community.
communities everywhere.
Right.
Well, they don't count that, Jimmy. Jesus. They don't count savage communities. Good Lord. No, good white people who went to Christian church. I mean, what are we talking about? That's what they're, I believe that's what they're referring to.
Right.
It's so funny that the state doesn't even recognize that at this point. They're just like, nah, fuck it. No one was here. This was barren. Nobody ever set, anywhere near it before 1850.
Right.
Never. No Indian ever found it, and the natives were never here. Untouched by native hands. It's originally called Ponderer's Rest. That's the original name of it. Ponderer's Rest.
I don't know. And now it's Dayton.
Now it's Dayton.
Which one's worse?
Well, at least there was a reason to call it Ponderer's Rest. Okay. But apparently it's at the western end of the 26-mile desert, which is at the bend of the Carson River, which is kind of why the border goes like that. Immigrants would stop there for water, and this was the place where you would decide whether to follow the river south or continue west.
Got it.
So this was the place where people would sit there and go, what the fuck do we do now?
They really named a shitload of things after Kit Carson, didn't they?
Yeah, that's
they are
Carson
fucking
City.
Proud of him.
They don't have much else there, honestly. And they, like we said, they're not going to adopt any native history, so fuck that. So someone shows up for 2 years and they're like, we got to name everything after these fucking people because we have nothing else.
Well, thanks to you and the West documentaries, I know that. Everything you hear Carson that's in Nevada, it's Kit Carson.
It's all the same dude.
And do you know why his name is Kit? Because he couldn't fucking read and write to spell his real name.
I actually heard that. I didn't know that.
Carson.
That's amazing.
He could spell Kit, but not Carson.
I love old timey illiteracy.
Yes,
that's what's amazing.
It's the best. Especially when they were badasses like that guy.
I get being okay. I know this is going to sound bad. Like I understand illiteracy and it's a terrible thing and blah blah blah. But how the fuck do you not learn by the age of being an adult how to spell your fucking name?
Your own name.
You just memorize that shit like when you're 5. Like even you can't read when you memorize. I knew how to spell Pietragallo before I could read read a fucking word because they just made me practice that one thing because I didn't know how to spell it.
Well, his name, I think, was Christopher. I think that's true. I don't remember for sure. But that's a fucking tough name to have as your first name.
Yeah,
and have to spell
why is it PH? I don't understand it.
Why is there an H after my first letter?
Well, then, you know what? They could have used that as a learning tool because there's a lot of a lot of pieces of the English language there that you could have learned from that. The silent H, the PH makes an F.
Yeah.
All these
lots
fucking
of
things.
phonograms in that fucking word.
It's beautiful. This place was named Dayton later after a guy named whose last name was Day, and he laid out the town. Okay. John Day.
So Dayton, Daytown, but minus
Dayton.
the W.
Which
Dayton.
Makes it folksy, I guess.
We fucking nailed it.
You drop the W and it becomes folksy, apparently, at that point.
Makes people want to visit.
Absolutely. Like, ooh, I like that ton. That makes it. I bet they have ice cream on Main Street down there. It smells like vanilla. Yeah. Whole place smells like vanilla. I'm going there. 1849, Abner Blackburn was heading for California, and he discovered a gold nugget in Gold Creek, which is one of the tributaries of the Carson River. And holy shit,
People came running.
Why did he tell anyone?
Right.
Where'd you find this? I don't know. California? That way?
I washed my pants. It was in the pocket.
Someone must have slipped it in there.
Bananas.
No fucking clue. Instead, people go crazy.
Dipshit.
1850 people just pile into this place. They're working sandbars. They're all over the place. This is like they start everywhere and head in. It's from the lowliest of the guys just by a sandbar to people, blowing shit up and trying to get into the ground.
That is a fascinating question.
It's crazy.
Why do you tell a fucking soul?
Why would you tell anyone you found gold? Ever. I'd be like, nothing here. I just like digging. I don't know. It's just fun to dig.
Not yet.
I'm building a sandcastle.
Let you know if I do.
I will, definitely.
And then shut the fuck up.
A lot of this pyrite, though.
Right.
A ton of this shit. I find bags of it. No, my kids like it. I take it home in sacks. Don't worry about it. Like, fucking full of shit.
I like to dupe my dumb kids. That's what it is.
I'm independently wealthy, and this is what I do. Some people go for seashells. Yeah. This is my seashells. Fake gold.
Why would you ever tell a soul?
I would sit there with a shotgun and shoot everyone that approaches. Hey, buddy. No questions asked. Hey, how you doing, shit? Bow. Just get the fuck away from me and my gold. Sit there like Scrooge McDuck at the top of my pile.
I wouldn't even go get that shit smelted down to make teeth. I would yank my own teeth out and just jam nuggets in there. Fuck it.
Right out of the river. Just jam them in there.
Bang.
Just
done.
misshapen gold teeth. But that would have been a sign of some serious wealth back then.
That's a great grill.
You would have been the best rapper ever in 1850.
I don't even
Nugget Grill.
Down.
What up, Nug Grill?
Call me Nugget.
That's it, man.
An MC Nugget.
Some reason he told these people, minors including, some of these names I found one, including a guy named James Old Virginie Finney.
Yeah.
Old Virginie.
Because it rhymes.
Wow. Clever. Old Virginie. He's probably from Virginia, I assume. He was one of the guys who was prominently working the area.
Yeah.
Old Virginie. Jesus Christ. They call this the first non-Native American settlement is what they're trying to say now.
There you go.
And that's still disputed.
It's still bullshit.
I found in their historical archives records of certain things that are really mundane and hilarious. Like Nevada's first dance was held in this town.
Well,
the first dance in the whole state.
First time we got a bunch of white people, pale-faced fucks, to pretend that they know how to dance.
And this probably resulted in horrific rapes, is all I can imagine, because listen to the statistics of this, okay? The tons of people started coming because of the gold, so the people hanging out there, they built a trading post and all this sort of shit, and they had New Year's Eve 1853, they had a dance, and it was attended by 150 men and 9 women.
Oh, Jesus.
Think about how unsafe that is. Drinking whiskey, armed whiskey drinking men. And I'm not even saying at the dance, but when they said goodnight and those girls walked off, I don't know, they probably didn't make it 5 feet. They didn't make it 5 feet before they were swooped up on a horse and taken to a cave somewhere where, oh my God, that was horrible.
Did they like circle the wagons and then everybody dances in the middle and you got the girls on one side of the wagons, all 9 of them,
all 9 of them,
and then 150 horny drunk
with
dudes
their cocks out,
shouting horrible things.
How many of them had their cocks out, just jerking it at them? Like, come on, I don't even care if you touch me. I ain't seen a woman in 6 months. I don't give a fuck.
A lower number is the ones that did.
Yeah, it's probably a smart move there.
Less than 9, I'll tell you that. I bet there was less gentlemen than women.
You know that. Imagine being a woman. Yeah, I'm going to go to this dance. I don't know. Hopefully there's some nice guys there, and you show up and you're like, more of us are showing up, right? This is no. and they're just all standing there drooling.
I wouldn't want to be one of 9 at any party when 150 are the opposite.
Never.
Of
that
anything.
would be scary.
Anything.
Especially if it's a frontier men. Right. These are like, they're all dirty. Imagine the smell in that room from these guys. They came out of the sandbars.
You think there was a room? I think that's adorable.
That's true. Well, it was a hall.
Oh, really?
It was held at his trading post.
Okay.
Like inside of
So there was a roof.
There was a roof for this. Yeah. I don't know if there was walls, but there was at least cover for rainfall.
Gross.
So they had the first marriage there in 1854. That was first in the whole state. There was a girl, her father was away on business and her mother had died. She was 14 years old. And so some local miner persuaded her to marry him while her father was away on business.
While he's away. What an asshole.
So he's basically kidnapped a 14-year-old girl, some scumbag. Watch Deadwood. Those guys are all dirtbags.
Unbelievable.
Some scumbag miner came, frontier, toothless, fucking ball-smelling cretin.
As a dude, that even if you're a businessman, your wife dies and all you've got is a daughter, how do you leave her?
You just leave her behind.
How do you leave a 14-year-old
in a mining town?
Right.
Have you seen The Dance, sir? It's not safe here. Fuck is going on? Jesus.
He was at the dance.
He was. I've just seen that 14-year-old girl. I hope she wasn't. Jesus.
No, good Christ.
So they get married, but once the girl's father returns, he took his daughter away and made the marriage go away and moved her to California.
Attaboy.
And he just said, "Get the fuck out of here."
Way to dad.
I'm taking my daughter away from kidnappers. This is clearly not safe. Imagine if you went away. Imagine if we go on tour for 3 days and you come back and your daughter's married to a guy who was prospecting in the hills. Right. You'd be like, "What the fuck happened?"
Unless he's the dude with all the gold nuggets.
Yeah, unless he's Scrooge McDuck.
Right.
Give her. Then we'll talk about it. Maybe.
I mean,
but
if
still,
he's going to take care of her,
you can. We can have like an intent, a letter of intent, where you can see it. Maybe in 18 years, when she's 18, you can have the first. You can come over first.
See, you can
give
judge.
Your pitch.
Right, maybe.
Come give your pitch.
Right.
We'll sit her down. You can come. You can give your presentation. If she likes you, fine. If not, take a fucking hike.
If she's not too old for you,
either way, it's going to cost you a lot of gold nuggets. Yeah, that's the other. Yeah. So 1850s, 1857, Chinese miners came to the area to avoid mining taxes that were directed at the Chinese in California. In California, they leveled special taxes against the Chinese for mining.
What?
Yeah, they were like, well, you can mine and blah, blah, blah. Chinese, that'll cost you a little extra.
Like, but are they...
Come here there, Ching Chong, hand over them nuggets.
Are they citizens of China or are they citizens of America?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
If your eyes are goofy,
I see them slanty eyes. I ain't giving a shit where you're from or where you floated from. It's going to cost you extra.
If your eyelids are inside out, you're paying more.
You're paying extra.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that was the thing. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with that, but that's what they used to do. There used to be poll taxes to keep people from voting. I mean, that's racism. That's America.
Yeah.
This is America here. So they leveled that on all of those people, and then so the Chinese started coming to Nevada.
Crossing the border. It's just right there.
They're like, let's walk over there where there's no tax. Mm-hmm. By 1860, the town was mostly Chinese miners of Dayton. Yeah, it was called Chinatown in the U.S. Census that year. They didn't even call it Dayton. They called it Chinatown. If you look, there's like this town, Chinatown.
It's so racist.
So racist. They're just like, I don't know, it's a chimichanga town. And then they were like, no, that's Mexican.
That town
that's
over
racist for there.
I don't know. It starts with a D, I think. No, not anymore.
No,
we're going to rename it right now.
Yeah, right now at Chinatown.
You know, I can never remember what its real name. I'm going to do one so that I remember it. And we'll tell everybody.
And that's the census man that did that. That's not a hillbilly miner.
The guy that's counting.
That's the guy who's being paid to count. Probably has some sort of diploma from somewhere.
Chinatown.
All right. So they ended up they started making goods and services for the miners because they realized that was more profitable than mining to sell people shit to go waste their money and mine because mining's it's hard and it doesn't always pay off. Right. Whereas if you sell a guy a shovel, it doesn't matter if he finds anything or not, and you're making money from it. Yeah. So that's kind of smart. So they 1861 they officially adopted the name of Dayton from after a local surveyor. But that's when this is census. It stopped doing that
to everybody.
Jesus Christ, right? Holy, I can't. That's fucking amazing.
It's unbelievable.
In 1866 and 1870, they had great fires. Both of them were great fires that destroyed the town both times, which they did back then.
They're all flammable.
Everything is flammable. Everything's made of wood. It's Nevada. Everything's bone dry, and they're all smoking. I don't understand. It's going to happen. Right. And you need fire to keep warm in the winter.
That's a good point.
There's so many ways for fire to destroy this fucking town. It was a lot less by the 1870s because of these fires. It became a lot less prosperous. People left. It wasn't the same. The mines weren't, producing these. That's the other thing too. These mines they don't just last forever. Right. You go in, you take all the shit out, and they're like, all right, that's it.
Now it's just a hole.
Yeah. Now it's a hole in the ground, and it's a park you take the kids to. Right. You go, people used to come here and rape 14-year-olds. Aren't you lucky to be born when you're born?
Not just that. If you were Asian, you paid more for everything.
That's it. Oh, by the way, the Asians, lucky you're not. Not only would they rape, there's a rape tax for Asians. If you're raped as an Asian, they'll tax you for it.
You have to pay for that.
You have to pay for it. So now, they don't report it a lot because there's a tax. And
I see your inside out.
It's not good. Right. So the population here, they had a railroad come through here in 1881, which brought some people back. But up until World War I, there was still only about 500 people here.
Wow.
So it remained kind of,
World War I.
World War I.
Okay.
So, 1914, 15, 16. 1909, a fire destroyed the courthouse, obviously, the Lyon County Courthouse, because in 1805 to 1910, most of the country was burned down several times. Constant fires.
The light at night was fires. The heat is fires. Like you said, everybody fucking smoked everything.
Yeah.
There's just way too much fire. It's prevalent.
That's what it is.
And to make your building out of fuel for fire is crazy.
And then it's all dry.
Right.
1865, there was about 2,500 people here, and then after the fires, everything went down, and it didn't come back up again to 2,500 until about 1930.
Wow.
So that's how long it took, and that's only because people started coming through as tourists because that's when the gold rush became kind of a cool thing,
in
and people went out west to go see shit. It became a tourist spot. It was like Dodge City type of thing. They just came to check it out. 1961, Dayton was the setting for the Misfits, which was a John Huston film. It was the last film appearances of both Clark Gable and Marilyn Monroe.
Is that right?
So that's what it was based on.
And it was in this town.
It was in this town. Yeah,
that's
super
crazy.
Weird. Now it's strange. Huge growth in the 90s because a bunch of residential development started coming in other towns, and it kind of spread to here. Because before this, we'll talk about it here. In 1970, there was 826 people here.
Interesting.
So nobody here.
Yeah.
1980 or 1990, there was 2,217 people here. So not bad. Right now, there is 8,972 people here.
It's booming.
So it's booming from 90, like all the West towns. Look at Phoenix, 1990, 1 million people, now 4.5 million people.
And now we have unbelievable dust storms that wipe shit out.
And trees that, as we've talked about, 100-year-old trees.
I've never seen that before.
Dude, this is crazy.
I've never seen a tree fucking uproot, whole root
that's
ball
what happened here.
Pulled out of the ground.
You drove past that, didn't you? It's crazy.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Every time there's a storm here now, trees that lasted 100 fucking years, now they're getting pulled out of the ground. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that's not normal.
Something's wrong.
By the way, the residents of Genoa point to the region's first post office and several other aspects of town government, noting their community deserves the title of Nevada's first town. Dayton can go fuck themselves.
Genoa wants it.
Genoa wants it. There's records of wagon trains that arrived 3 weeks earlier.
We're going to split hairs on weeks.
That's what
Jesus.
But they're fighting about this because they have nothing, these towns. They're like, we need a claim to fame. So I'm going to be the oldest.
You named your town after salami. You can go fuck yourself,
well,
too.
it's a region of Italy also. I'm sure there was 3 Italian guys probably came over and said, we name it. It's a Genoa. What kind of pasta do you have in your pocket? I got a rigatoni. Oh, mine's a cavatelli.
Sweet
Never mind. And that's an old reference of us identifying Italians
when you carry spaghetti.
Well, no, it's when you're sent away from Italy, when you're sent to America, your family stuffs pasta in your pocket, and you match up the type of pasta with your family in America on the other side, and that's how you know if Luigi, and he's like, I'm a Luigi. He's like, you my cousin Luigi, and he's like, I don't know, and he pulls out and he's like, oh no, it's rigatoni.
Farfalla.
He's like, oh shit, I got farfalla. Yeah, never mind. They go their separate ways. Yeah, that's an old theory of mine. I asked my grandmother if that's what happened when she came over from Italy, and she said, well, what are you talking about? And I said, okay, never mind. So
Didn't pan out.
All
right.
So population is up 305% since 1990, which is a shitload. Yeah. Median age is pretty average, 38.8. More males than females for some by a good margin too. It's like almost 53% male, which is a little bit out of whack. Must be some outdoor shit going on. A few more widowed people than normal. More married people than usual. It's kind of an older demographic when it comes to that sort of thing. Race of the town, as you might expect, is pretty white. Yeah. What do you expect here? White and
86.
Yeah, it's 79% white. So we're pretty close.
And then Spaniards.
There you go.
Latinos.
That's
some Latinas.
0.62% black. So not a lot of black people.
Goodness.
And Chinatown is currently 0.20% Asian. So
that's what happens when you tax them. They fucking run.
Flee.
I would too.
About 1% Native American, and then you're going to get about 16% Hispanic. So it's pretty close to the average on there. Religion in this town, 21.1% religious. That's what I'm talking about. There you go, Nevada.
Drive it down.
My kind of place. Now I know why I live out west for shit like that.
Well, they got Reno real close by. Like, there's no
Vegas
there's
that way.
for sure no God. Have you been over there?
I mean,
that
Jesus, Reno. It's all trailers and casinos and fucking brothels, man. There is no God. Trust me. 7% Catholic due to your 16% Hispanic. 7% LDS because it's the West, and that's what happens there. They hide out in those mountains like nobody's business. About 34% of the people here voted Democrat in the last election. About 63% Republican.
That is interesting.
It is interesting because Nevada goes Democratic a lot, and it's a.
They really like those casinos and whores, and you know what I mean. You get some gambling and whores, and those are not Republican things. Oh, they are Republican things.
They just hide
Weird.
it. They just hide it. So, shit.
Yeah.
Unemployment rate 8.6%, which is way higher than the 5% in the rest of the country. They have negative job growth here, which isn't spectacular. Also, household income, median household income is about $50,000, which is pretty close to the $54,000 average. A lot of jobs in manufacturing, twice as many in retail trade because it's kind of a tourist town with all the mining and all that shit. Like, come see where thousands of Chinese died for no reason.
Come see where we argue constantly about us being the oldest.
And we tax Chinese to die in a mine. Overall, on the cost of living here, 100 being average, par, normal, 103 here. So pretty close to the average. Housing is 107, so that's pretty close. The median home cost here is $277,000. $216 is the average in the United States. And so with that, you have a lot of houses in the $100,000 to $200,000 range. More than 50% of them are in there. So it's if you're middle class affordable housing, and if we've convinced you that you need to go, I don't know, mine for something,
at least want to see it.
Well, then you, sir, need the Dayton, Nevada Real Estate Report. Two-bedroom apartment here is just below the national average. It's about $1,160 for a two-bedroom apartment, which, I don't know, a place like this, that seems unreasonable. I don't think so. Three-bedroom, two-bath house I found here, 1,100 square feet. It's a nice, clean house. It's kind of on the outskirts. It's not really close to much, so it's a little cheaper. $130,000 for this. So not bad, though. It's three bedrooms, a good little starter home. I found a four-bedroom, two-bath, 1,824 square foot house.
That's a good one.
It's a nice little house. It's got a purple garage door, which is really weird. The rest of the house is all normal, and it has this light, pale, shit purple garage door.
Like fucking lavender?
It's almost lavender, although I have a problem with purples and blues, and they look alike to me, so I don't know. It might be...
Could be light blue?
It's definitely a purple, but I'm not sure which purple because
Stop doing
can't
that.
See that shit straight.
Stop with your accent door. Stop with your bright
you don't
red
need an
door.
Accent garage door.
Right.
Well,
it's fucking have a normal door.
For that door, you're going to pay $283,900 for this purple doored mess.
And you have to repaint.
And you're going to have to first thing paint that garage door. Found a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 900 square foot house on 5 acres of land. And this is just a house sitting in the middle of dirt. Awesome. It's just plopped there. $533,500.
Wonderful.
Nice house, a lot of land. Not terrible, I guess, if you want to live in the desert.
$500,000 for some space.
For a little bit of space, a little bit of room to breathe. Things to do. It's a lot of tourist shit. You can do the pick up a self-guided walking tour at the Dayton Museum. Just pick up a brochure.
You can't call
it's not a tour.
No.
It's a brochure telling you go walk and see this shit.
Go
That's not a tour.
fuck yourself.
No, it's terrible.
What is that?
You can see one of Nevada's oldest cemeteries, camel stables for some reason, and old railroad depots and firehouses, an 1865 schoolhouse. Oh, boy. Walk the streets blazed by explorers, immigrants, miners, Pony Express riders, and Wells Fargo stages. You forgot whores and thieves and gamblers and tons. You mentioned no Chinese either. Mostly
what
Chinese
about
people.
Them?
Crime rate in
They
this
want to cover them all in immigrant? Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is. Blanket it.
Just say cover the trail blazed by immigrants, because everybody's an immigrant,
especially in the 1800s. Right. Nobody's really been here that long. They're by then. Immigrants. It's 200 years tops. You've been here, so not much. So crime rate in this town: property crime right about average for the country. Violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, assault. The Mount Rushmore of crime is much higher than average, like 25% higher than average. Yeah. It's really high for some reason. I don't understand exactly what's happening in this town.
I just thought, why don't we have a shirt that has like Mount Rushmore and it has like the words murder, rape, robbery, and assault?
Yeah, that's weird.
That would
Never thought to do that. That would be a great shirt.
Oh, you know what?
Make that shirt.
Mount Rushmore already has them on it.
Ah, fuck. That's right. Murder. That one's rape. Is Thomas Joe? Yeah, that's a rape one. That one's rape. Oh boy, it's a lot of rape in that one. Oh man.
So we already have
robbery. All of them, I guess, for robbery.
Assault for sure.
Assault. I'm sure they're throwing their weight around at some point here, especially the older ones.
Their wives for sure.
Assault was just the way you did business back then. That's how you lived. That's how you lived, Jimmy.
I like it.
Assaulting anyone in your path. Back then it was true, though. I mean, I just gave him a good knuckling. Right. It was like, I don't understand what the problem is.
A little rap on the mouth.
Yeah, I don't know. What's the problem? Yeah. I don't get it. Yeah, he was whack a guy with your cane. You could
solves it.
You could shoot a guy if he knew it was coming. I told him I was going to shoot him. Right. We went out in the street and he agreed to it.
Told him, hold yours, I'll hold mine. And then I murdered him.
That's how adult you got treated back then. You could enter into an agreement with a man so that you're going to try to kill each other.
One of us is dead after this.
If you died, they'd be like, well, he said it was fine, so no charges for you, sir.
And that's over all kinds of shit.
Fair fight. Right. Out west, fair fight. Now
it's a fair fight. We was legal.
It's a fair fight. We was legal.
He cursed me for a liar and crawfished on a bet. What the fuck are you talking about?
Tombstone
Who cares?
Shit right there. Nowadays, you could go to a bar, get in a guy could challenge you to a fight. You guys could step outside, put your hands up. He could trip over his own feet coming in to punch you, fall down, crack his head open, and die, and you'd get charged with a fucking crime.
Not just murder.
Not only do you not even have to touch him, it's fucking. We've gone to another level.
His family will sue you and ruin everybody in your family's lives.
No.
What is it? What do they call that?
Aggravated murder.
But it's like wrongful death.
Wrongful death.
That's the word. Yeah.
We all need to be adults. Can we all be adults from now on?
I'd love that.
And if two grown people agree that they don't like each other and want to not that we should all be punching each other and violence is the answer, but if two people agree the only way that we're going to solve our issues is with a fist fight, no one else should be involved.
But the key,
that's your problem.
The key to that too is the two people. It's not just the purge. You don't just go out and be like, yeah, they're right. Let's just fucking eliminate people. No. It's an agreement.
It's an agreement between two adults.
It can be verbal.
I don't get it. But
everybody's
if you do
got a phone today.
If I give each of you $5 and put a camera up, then it's a sport. So what the fuck's the difference? I don't get it. It's still an agreement between two adults that they're going to have a fight. Why is it different? I don't get it. Everyone carry around documents with you. Will you please sign this first thing that you're entering into this contract? Yeah.
Just record it. Do you agree that
start an LLC, and then say
just do that.
It's under this company, and then there you go. Now also too. Then they just have to sue the LLC at that point instead of you.
Great.
Protect yourselves. Have some documentation. Okay, murder.
LegalZoom.com.
LegalZoom. We don't do that at all. We have no legal people, so we can't endorse anything like that. But I've heard they exist, so knock yourself out. You might need them. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about MedMen.
MedMen.com.
Ooh, MedMen is the premier cannabis company in the entire United States with recreational and medical retail locations throughout Southern California. MedMen's goal is to mainstream the cannabis industry and empower people to exercise their right to purchase and use cannabis however they want.
Look at you.
That's right.
You're so excited.
I'm so excited. It's a high-quality experience. MedMen offers a high-end shopping experience with knowledgeable and friendly staff that will help you find exactly what you're looking for. It's not weird or creepy. It's just great. Our stores are bright and they're airy, and they have been compared to the Apple Store of weed.
How about that?
That's what they're called. That's what they feel like. If you live in California, it's an exciting time right now, and MedMen is helping to redefine the cannabis industry and empower people to do what they want to do. They have shops that are open for both medical and recreational marijuana. Anyone over 21 with a valid ID is welcome. I'm telling you, they're nice places.
Yeah.
I've seen them on the inside. Darn nice. I would recommend them wholeheartedly. And MedMen is committed to providing the highest quality and safety so you won't have to worry about what you're buying. Be empowered to exercise your right to buy cannabis. Check out one of their retail locations throughout Los Angeles, Orange County, San Diego, or go to medmen.com to find your nearest store. That's medmen.com. Plus, exclusively for our listeners, everybody, visit MedMen and tell them you heard about them on Small Town Murder Podcast at checkout for $10 off your order. Limit one per customer. Terms and conditions may apply. Check out MedMen today.
MedMen.com to find the store nearest you, and then come on in and mention Small Town Murder for $10 off your order. And now back to the show.
Let's talk about a murder here in this town. And like I said, this is one that you read it at first, and I read everything, and I read the court documents, and you read through the case, and you're like, okay, that's pretty fucking clear what happened here. Yeah. This is obvious. And then you start to read further and further, and then there's a judge later on in an appeal that has even further thoughts on it, and you start going, what happened here? Yeah. What the fuck? There's no explanation for this. This is some sort of weird supernatural shit that went on here, or there's an obvious answer and everybody overlooked it to point the finger at the easy target, or there's an explanation that no one's thought of yet. We'll talk about it. Let's get into this here.
This is fascinating already.
It's fucking weird, man. It's in Nevada, and this is it snows here. Let's talk also. This isn't like, don't think of Vegas, because people think of Nevada, they automatically think of Vegas. Right. Think Reno 911 also. Okay. Because Nevada's way more like Reno 911 than it is like anything that happens in Vegas, because Nevada is mainly just a white trash trailer park.
It is.
The whole rest of it. Pretty much the western United States is a giant, it's like people trying to erase whatever failures they've had back east, and we're included in this. Now, don't get me wrong. Listen, we're not taking shots. I'm from New York, and I moved here because I had nowhere else to go.
And it's 10 miles off the coast. Yeah. 10 miles off the coast and further is awful.
It's awful in any direction. Right. That's what I mean. We're never taking shots at anybody because everywhere is awful. Right. And we understand. There's like 3 nice places in the entire country. Right. And really, in the world, there's like 12. And most places suck.
The majority of them are right next to water. That's what it is.
Thing. Yeah, water makes things nice.
Once
usually.
You get away from the water, people start to get a little upset that they're not on the water.
Well, yeah, and also the land is like, oh, now it's flat and weird and
dry and gross.
But that's a matter of taste. Right. Some people like that. They like to see wide open space. Some people like that.
Good for
you. What are you going to do? Who the fuck knows? Yeah. These people apparently liked this. They were in a snowy, this is February of 1993, in a snowy small town of Dayton, Nevada. We'll talk about David Kopak first. David Kopak's a Vietnam veteran. He lives in a trailer in Dayton. He has a son named Jason, teenage son, who lives with him as well. David, the father, is awoken on the night of February, or the morning, I guess you'd say, of February 23rd. He's awoken by a noise. It's at 1:23 a.m. He remembers looking at the clock. Like everybody, if you wake up, you look at the clock. You don't remember anything, but you remember, I woke up at 3:41 last night. Like you, for some reason, like that sticks in your mind. Maybe because it's dark and it's like emblazoned bright green or red or something, numbers.
And you're hoping that it's like 10 and you still have a lot more sleep to go.
Please
and then
don't
you
be
see
5:30.
3:41 and you're like, fuck?
Please don't be 5:30. Right. Please don't be 5. Well, he saw 123, so he must have been like, whew, okay. But he said it was a loud noise, but he didn't know what it was. He just woke up to a noise. You know, when you wake up to a noise, you have to hear that noise again to know what the fuck that noise was. So that's what happened with this guy. He woke up and didn't know what the hell happened. He thought maybe it was a cat jumping on the roof of the shed next to his bedroom window, because outside of his trailer window, there's like a tin shed. And if some skeezy trailer cat jumped onto it, apparently that would wake him up at night, which is so fucking depressing. That this poor man fought in a war, and now he is living in a place where there's a tin shed's roof feet from his head while he sleeps, where a cat could just wake him up at any time.
A feral, not just any cat. It's
not even his cat.
Right. It's a trailer park fucking rat. That's what they are.
So, fuck,
They're terrible individuals.
Right away, I feel for this guy. Like, I'm like,
feral
shit.
cats are vile. They're so gross.
And it's funny, too, because I like cats. So
I love cats. I love all animals.
At my old house, remember we had that feral kitten that kept running away?
He was a sweetheart.
Ed was the best. Well, we had that other one that came around who was like a feral cat who would run away, and after a couple months, I got him to come up to me, and then he was really nice.
Really?
And then he disappeared, and I hope somebody took him.
I think I remember
the
that
little fluffy one.
Yeah.
And then Ed was just a cool cat.
But like
Ed was somebody's.
I'm talking about like feral.
Like, that's another kind of animal. That's another kind of animal. That's like a raccoon.
Gross.
It's a raccoon.
You don't know what their last meal was.
No,
like it's not.
They would. I don't think they care what the fuck their next meal is, just as long as it's
pigeon.
A pigeon, something rank, something gross.
It was already dead. It was hit by a car.
Jesus
One
Christ.
of those.
Spay or neuter your kittens, everybody, and make sure this doesn't happen. I feel bad for these poor cats. And take care of your cats. That's what we're getting. We don't want all the cats to be gotten rid of. We want them to be taken care of. Yes, pet your kitties. Okay, moving on. So this is 1:23 a.m. Cat on a shed. He thought it was either the cat on a shed or maybe something like else blowing against the shed, maybe like some debris. I don't know, you're in the middle of a fucking... this is not, there's not a lot of landscape. There's some mountains in this area and it's pretty goddamn flat. So winds pick up. We live in Arizona. It's the same type of thing. Shit gets windy and debris will fly through the air. And in a trailer park, there's just tons of loose debris.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere because, when you
I am blown away by what trailer parks look like. Like there are nice ones that have the elderly people that live in them. They're super clean.
What about when we were driving to LA, we drove through that town with the dispensary there was like trailer parks that looked like trailers that are nicer than my house.
Unbelievable.
Like, oh, God, these are really nice. Yeah, that's a trailer. Wow.
And then there's trailers that I work in for work. It's crazy what people just throw in their backyard. Like
nobody cares.
A full-size bathtub that did not go in that trailer ever. Not
They're
once.
Just collecting bathtubs.
And it's in the back upside down rusty. And it's not even like upside down like laying on its top flush. It's like off kilter. How is that
with
possible?
Other shit under. Just tossed a tub on top of the other crap we got there.
It's just shit on top of shit.
All sorts of stuff. Put it on top of 10-speed bicycle.
Right.
That's perfect.
That's
exactly. Perfect. That'll hold it down.
And the fucking tub is older than that bike. They don't match like eras. It's just bizarre. Like, why do you still have either of those?
They collect over many years. I feel like
it's crazy.
This guy, I feel so bad for him. Honestly, I just do. He's awakened by the noise. This guy, David, and he says that he walked out in the living room, but he didn't see anything weird or notice anything. He said that he doesn't know. He said he thought he walked into the living room, but then he says maybe I didn't walk into the living room later on. He's like, I'm not sure if I walked into the living room, but I do know that I did definitely look out my bedroom window, and but I didn't know what the noise was, so I don't know what else happened after that.
So he didn't see anything.
He woke up, looked at the clock, looked out the window, and then went back to sleep.
May or may not have gone.
That's what I mean. He was like groggy and went out there, but that's when he lost his like awake momentum from being woken up, and he started drifting back off into what he was doing here. So the next morning, he wakes up. He, gives a stretch here. He walks out. His son is sleeping in the living room on the floor, and he says that he walked over his son's legs 3 different times to get to the coffee machine, get to the kitchen, get to the bedroom. Because as we'll talk about, it's a very small trailer. This is not a big trailer. It is 10 feet by 50 feet. Okay. So that is not a lot. It's not a big trailer at all.
It's awfully weird for. Well, I guess
it's long,
feet,
but it's almost like a tractor trailer. Yeah. It's like 10 feet's very narrow for an entire residence.
It's just a single wide. It's an old single wide.
It's an old timey single wide. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So he said that he did all of that. His son was on the floor. He said that he got his cup of coffee. He sat down and watched television. He said within maybe a foot from his son who was on the floor there. Didn't notice anything was awry. Nothing like that. The father's bedroom, like we said, is just a short distance down the hall from the living room. Yeah. So and also he doesn't have a door to his bedroom. That's the other thing. This is a man, like I said, this man fought in a war and he has a curtain covering his door. And that's sad.
No door. No privacy whatsoever.
No privacy from his son. I don't know. This sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. And a tin shed within feet of his head that can wake him up if something knocks on him.
Anything. Cats, rats, garbage. Yeah. This is not the life I feel like he envisioned.
This country loves to make veterans and hates to take care of them.
I would say so. Jesus. And I don't know what his deal is, but it didn't work out well for him here. So he would have noticed. If there was anything going on crazy in the living room, it would have been hard for him to not notice, being that it's right there, A, and B, there's not even a fucking hollow core trailer door between him and that. It's a curtain. And also, he's kind of jumpy. Yeah. He says that he wakes up from noises. He was in Vietnam. He's got like he hears like things and he gets up ready for combat, he says. Like, of course. If he hears something that might be boom, he's like, oh shit, where do I go? What do I do? Like,
so many cats have lost their lives.
He snapped necks. I just see him crawling through the trailer park snapping necks going, that's right, take that, Viet Cong. And they're like,
he calls all cats Charlie.
Just tilting their heads. I don't understand. So he says he doesn't notice anything. He said that just doesn't notice anything, and then he ends up noticing that, and he notices that his son's not moving, and he's moving around the living room, and the TV's on, and his son hasn't moved at all. Okay. And so he tries to wake him up. And he can't wake him up because his son is dead on the floor of the trailer.
Very little blood.
Living room. Very little blood that he noticed wrapped in a blanket like he's sleeping on the floor. He said he saw his feet sticking out. He had no shoes on. So it's like, he fell asleep on the floor. Okay. First of all, that's not great living conditions for a teenager. No. I don't think on a school night especially. Feel like they need to get better rest than that.
At least be on the couch.
At least be on the couch. But I don't know. This kid wanted to sleep on the floor, and who the fuck knows? The son, too, Jason, for everybody said he's a nice kid. Mm-hmm. He's got long hair. Like I saw the picture of him. He's got super long hair. Yeah. He likes like D&D. He's a Dungeons and Dragons kid. He likes like that kind of, he likes like kind of, metal shit, like music, and like, he's just a normal kid. Like he's not a bad kid. Nothing wrong with him,
got his interests. Yeah. It's 1993.
It's 93. Right. It's like sleeping in a pristine bed and hygiene aren't like his main concerns. He's a 1993 kid who's like 15, 16 years old, who's just fucking hanging out with his long hair, and
makes sense.
Yeah, we all knew that kid.
Sure,
100 of them actually.
Oh, good God, I can't even count. Picture in a guar shirt or something like that.
Picture a friendly Jason Mewes. Okay, like that. I picture Jason, like when I saw his picture, he's like a Jason Mewes from Clerks. Yeah. Like he's that as a picture, but not.
Just tell us that you had a bad experience with Jason Mewes.
I didn't. No. Well, I mean, his character in the movie's like,
I guess he's
fuck
a
your mother
surly.
in the mouth and fucking, especially from Clerks. Like he's a total asshole in Clerks. Great character and funny, but I mean, not
except for the sequel to Clerks.
Cool kid.
In the sequel, he's fucking great.
I refuse to watch
he's amazing.
That sequel.
Is it the second? Is there 3?
I will not watch.
Is there 3 of them?
I don't know because I won't watch past 1. Okay. Fuck you. That's not a sequel movie. It's a movie about people. I love the movie, but you don't make a sequel out of that just because it's the only intellectual property that you have that fucking has any value to it. Sorry. And I like Kevin Smith and everything like that, but you know what you did. Clerks 2 wasn't necessary. Come up with another fucking idea. You're a smart guy. And you're talented as fuck.
Very smart.
And I get that you just shrug and go, all right, fine, I'll make Clerks 2 and make a bunch of money, but you know what? Stop it.
Whichever one had the donkey show. And
so let's keep making Small Town Murder every week. To show what hypocrites we are.
It's great, though.
But I don't care.
Jason Mewes pulls his dick out of some girl, and then there's shit everywhere, and it's fantastic. It's hilarious.
No, he's funny. He is funny. I give him credit, too, because he actually went from, like, being severely uncomfortable, obviously, in front of the camera to, now he seems comfortable. He seems like he knows that character. He can play it confidently. He's getting it, right. Which it only took 15 years, so good job.
The girl that he pulls out of is the girl from Crybaby that was in that porno that is illegal because she was, like, 16 or something like that.
Tracy Tracy Lord?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Her, yeah.
She was in a lot of porn before they realized that she was a teenager.
But there's some, the specific one. Is it Behind the Green Door? Is that the one?
No, that's the one from the 70s.
What's the one that she was in that was, I don't know what it's called.
That was controversial because the girl was the ivory soap girl in Behind the Green Door.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, she was the ivory soap in a big ivory soap ad, and then now she's getting skewered by
early
fucking
horrible.
black dudes. Yeah. Early porn is disgusting. It's super weird and gross. And
creepy.
It was very weird. It all had a weird vibe to it of some strange. Everyone had a costume. It was just not okay.
Well, it just felt like it was like they seemed to be like, we can't believe this is legal.
Can you believe
you can buy
do this? Hey,
Right.
watch this.
Instead of just embracing the freedom.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're like, we're only doing this because we think it's going to get taken away.
Almost like they had to and then they would try to put an artistic spin on it, like they had big budgets and shit. Like this could be like a real movie.
Right.
Like, no, it's not.
No.
As soon as somebody's dick visibly goes into a vagina, it's not a real movie anymore.
And it's not just that. It's that is the showcase, and you're going to film only that until it's over.
That's the punch.
It's just porn.
Everything else is the setup for that punchline. That's called porno.
Right.
That's not. It is that is pornography. So enjoy, which is fine.
Right.
We're not against pornography by any stretch of the imagination.
It's fantastic,
but it's just gross from the 70s, and I don't want to fucking watch it.
Right.
So he basically the way he's looking in this thing, he doesn't understand how this would have happened. He thinks, oh shit, I woke up at 1:23. Maybe that's the problem. They bring he calls the police. Obviously, they come into the situation. There's no blood trails. There's for anything like that. They look at that, notice that right away. Initially, they see that he's got some wounds and some small wounds, and they start looking for like a rock or some sort of blunt instrument that they could find, with him, that they can find around as a murder weapon. He was shoeless. He's wrapped in a blue blanket. They find no signs of a struggle at all at the scene. They find an oval-shaped wound in the back of the left shoulder. And the investigating officers initially believed that Jason had been killed with a crowbar or a blunt instrument, and that's what they were searching for when they did that. But what they ended up doing later on, they do x-rays of the victim, and they realized that Jason had several number 6 shotgun pellets and plastic wadding from a 20-gauge shotgun recovered from his body. Once they did the x-rays, they found this. So
where was that at?
In his back. That was the oval-shaped wound there. So when they had the autopsy, they figured out that he had been shot from a distance of 2 to 18 feet, which is not really that accurate. 2 to 18, they said, it depends on the spray of the particular gun and the particular. There's a lot of different variables.
That's a fucking distance, though.
2 to 18
in a
feet.
trailer.
Yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't have been 18 feet in the trailer. That would have been the whole trailer. And they said it was probably happened around 1:30 a.m., which is the same time Jason's father was awakened by what he thought was the cat jumping on the roof.
Right.
Now, this is the weird part. There's no blood trail to this body. There's a child on the ground dead with a shotgun wound in his back. No blood trail. Wasn't dragged there. How the fuck did the father, if the father was awoken by a shotgun blast, I feel like he wouldn't confuse that with a cat on a tin roof.
A guy that was in
Vietnam, that knows what, and especially inside of a tin trailer, that, fucking loud,
it's gonna echo
a 20-gauge shotgun blast would be in a tin trailer in the middle of the night. You would you would wake up and it would still be reverberating.
You wouldn't have to go, can you make that noise again? Because just be patient. It's coming right back. It's going to echo off the other side of the trailer.
Fuck yeah. And especially if you have a curtain, you don't even have a goddamn door, there's definitely going to be something. It seems a shotgun blast would probably be heard by anyone in that type of a small area, which is the super fucking weird part, and no notice from that. Also, when the father woke up in the middle of the night, he did not smell gunpowder at the time. They asked him, did you smell gunpowder? And he knows what gunpowder smells like. He was like, oh, I was in Nam. If there's gunpowder, I'll smell it. He then also, when he came out in the morning, he still didn't smell gunpowder, which he would still smell gunpowder in a closed trailer, because it's the middle of the winter. There's not windows open or anything. So he never smelled gunpowder. So all of this is very fucking weird. He was a gunner in Vietnam. So he's like, I know gunpowder.
He was around it all the time.
I was around it constantly. So it's right there too. The bedroom was such a short way. It's so strange. that no one would have heard this, and that's what makes it super odd, especially with the blood trail. No blood trail, no nothing.
It had to be right there.
Yeah, they said, and also they said the blue fibers that matched the blanket were found on the shotgun wadding removed from his body.
So he was wearing that too.
So the blanket was around him. The bullets, the shells pellets went through the blanket into his body. Also, and the lividity in his feet was consistent with where the death was, where the body was discovered, was consistent with that's where the death occurred.
What is lividity?
That is where it's a technical medical term for how his feet were laying, how the blood was laying, and where he was.
The outline of his feet, right?
Because they can tell if you were moved and then moved into another location. So they can tell where he was. They were like, okay, this is all consistent with he died here and was left here. Right. There was no dragged and placed. He wasn't set up. There was no staging or anything like that, so this is right now we have the weirdest shit ever.
We have lots of questions for Dad at minimum.
A ton of questions for Dad, I would say, definitely but they contact the neighbors for additional clues here, to figure out what happened. They talked to Mr. Bradley. This guy lived about 30 feet from the trailer. He said that he heard nothing out of the ordinary during the previous night.
30 feet.
30 feet, didn't hear shit. I would assume everyone in the fucking trailer park would hear the shotgun blast, I would think. They also said there was no written report of this interview, which is weird. No written report of it, but Bradley will come up later on, and we'll talk about him. And also, the substance of this was not relayed to the defense because it wasn't taken down. So they questioned this guy. They said he said, I heard nothing, and they didn't document it or let the defense know that there was a guy 30 feet away that didn't hear a shotgun blast.
Well, that's illegal.
Which seems like that's a little bit shady. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be a bunch of things like that where we're like, well, that doesn't seem right. Well, this doesn't seem right. Fuck. Where this is one of these, like, I don't know if Adnan did it or not. Yeah. And you're like, it's equal on both sides.
Doesn't make any the answer, though, like the other side is just always, well, then fucking who did?
That's the thing. And this is one of those cases where it's just like that. We could go on for days with this thing because it's very much, if you hear one side of the case, you go, oh yeah, he definitely did it. And then you hear the other side of the case and you go, there's no possible physical way he could have done it. So how do those two things match up? But then you go, there's no way he couldn't have done it. It's so fucking weird. Yeah. Let's get into it here. Like we said, 2 to 18 feet with the distance. So that morning at school, the school goes on. Jason's not there, obviously, but the rest of school goes on. They're investigating. They're looking for clues. They're talking to neighbors. The father's, I'm sure beside himself, I would hope.
Sad at minimum.
At minimum. During the morning here, there's a kid named Brian Simmons. He's 15 years old. This kid has been, everyone said that he is preoccupied with Satanism, and he's real into like Satanism and all of it, but we don't know if he's doing this shit because he's not really popular and this is trying to be his thing. Because in the 90s, I don't know, everybody needed a thing. Yeah. Everyone had, now all the kids look the same. Yeah. You can't look at a kid now and tell what kind of music they listen to.
James, you're not allowed to. That's assuming their gender.
That's true.
They're all fluidly binary or whatever the fuck it is.
And back then, not only could you tell what gender they were in 1993, not that that's good, whatever. So fucking,
could you?
No, you actually could. But
remember Marilyn Manson fans? Some of that shit got real crazy.
But back then, you could look at any kid and tell exactly what kind of music they listen to in 2 seconds.
For sure.
In 2 fucking seconds.
Because it was emblazoned on their fucking shirt.
Not only that, but you could just say that group listens to rap, and that group listens to this, and that group listens to metal, and you just tell by looking at that.
And that's how people were defined, too. That's it, as just their behavior.
Yeah, literally, that's it. Like, they like alternative shit, or they like hip-hop, or they like fucking, but that's how it was back then. So you had to have a thing, or else you were nobody, and you weren't in anything. Yeah. And you were like, people would try to like freak people out, to be like, you wanted people to be afraid of you if you were like an outcast, rather than just like, I'm a dork, that you'd want them to think, oh, he's so weird. And I don't know if that made them feel better, like, oh, they can't handle my weirdness.
I'm interesting.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's the equivalent of like, buying a lizard and bringing it everywhere with you. Trying to be interesting.
So terrible that I had a snake. I did that shit.
Oh,
that's fucking embarrassing.
That is embarrassing. You shouldn't be embarrassed.
I think I told you. I did it because I thought chicks dug it, and just
some do.
Not those chicks.
Every chick that came over, you're like, no, not you.
Not you.
Damn it.
I don't want you.
Should I get a puppy? I think a puppy's the right way to go.
See that girl in the cheerleader outfit? The one that's running away from me holding this thing?
But
That's
I have a snake. He watched wrestling twice, was like, chicks seem to like Jake the Snake Roberts. I think they'll like me too.
I just like ball pythons. I thought they were cool. And then I was like, this is a fucking useless pet. What am I doing?
For a period of 2 years, if you walked up to Jimmy, you'd be like, you Jimmy? He'd be like, call me Snake. Just call me Snake, baby.
It's embarrassing.
You'd be like, I don't think so.
I'm an idiot.
You kind of look like a Jimmy. We're going to go with Jimmy.
Can I see your ID, sir? I'm not calling you Snake.
I will not call you Snake.
That's fucking weird.
So this guy attends school that day, Brian Simmons. He's there. They said he's been interested in, he talks about, rape and mutilation and Satanism and basically like he's like a metal fan kind of thing. Like we don't know, like I said, how serious he is there. But it's people think that it's brought up that he suggested to 3 of his friends that he had killed Jason. This Brian Simmons.
He told
kid.
his friends that maybe he did it,
maybe
or he
did
just
it.
said I did.
He's talking to his friends. Mike Owings is one kid that we're going to talk about in great detail because he's a huge cog of this case, and I don't know, somebody who, if we did do a 10-part series, he would be the Heyman's ex-boyfriend Don of the scenario, where he'd be like, I really want to know where the fuck Don was, and people would be checking his LensCrafter employee records
and his cell phone records,
and everything. Yeah, right. Jesus Christ. So he says that this Mike kid says that Simmons explained the details of his activities leading up to the shooting, and that he admitted to Mike that he'd shot Jason. This is what Mike says. Another kid, Dan, who's nearby, said that Brian Simmons told this Dan kid that now there's only 4 left on the 5 people to kill list that he has. Okay. That's what this kid said, and he said that he intended to finish out the list.
So there was 5. Now there's 4.
Now there's 4.
And the only body that we're aware of is this kid laying on a trailer floor. Okay.
Yes. He also testified that this Dan kid would tell the police and testify later that he overheard Brian Simmons telling Mike Owings, quote, I did it, and that he was and that he overheard him say that he was so close that he could not have missed. And he also he says he overheard Simmons telling Mike Owings that he wanted to tell everybody, but he knew he would be caught if he did. Okay. Another kid named Michael, not Mike Owings, had also said that Brian Simmons had told him in some detail at an earlier time that Brian Simmons planned to murder a, quote, long hair, which what is this, 1967? I have damn long hairs and the long hair.
What the hell?
I've never heard. That's hilarious to me. In the 90s, no one ever called anybody a long hair.
We called them dirt head,
or just
that's what we call them.
I don't even know. Yeah, in the 90s, if you were into metal, you had all long hair, and then kids could have like long hair and shit, but they had to have the sides and back shaved, and then
they had like it's like parted in the middle, and it was like perfectly coiffed, and it was down to like the shoulders.
Yeah, that was like the kind of a like a hippie-ish alternative, kind of like a.
It was kind of like a Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly.
That's who did it.
You're right. Kurt Cobain did that.
I was thinking, I'm like, the dudes listen to Kurt Cobain. I know the people that I'm thinking of. That's what they listen to. And then as soon as I said it in my head, I was like, that's who did that. That asshole did it. Why'd you do that, you dick?
This Brian Simmons tells this Michael B. weeks earlier that he hoped to do it, to kill a long hair, by staying awake one night while for the rest of his family to go to sleep, and driving his mother's car to somebody's house if it had enough gas.
And a long hair.
And a long hair, because you got to find the long hair first. That same morning that we're talking about where they're at school, this Michael, not Mike Owings, the other one, said that he saw Brian approaching Brian Simmons and asked him why he was smiling. Simmons said that he would soon find out. And then other people saw this exchange also and reported that. Now, this Dan kid said that he overheard Simmons tell Mike Owings that, quote, he would be paralyzed for sure at one point. That's just a non sequitur that he heard out of that whole thing.
Somebody in their conversation would be paralyzed.
Yes, which the police are thinking about is possibly a reference to the severity of Jason's spinal cord or back injury, and that the shotgun blast would do. The thing that they're very suspicious about is that Simmons is speaking of this in detail at 7:40 a.m., which is only a little more than an hour and a half after the first cop arrived at the scene of the murder. Before that, nobody else heard about anything, and no details were released until about noon of that day. So he knows about this allegedly way earlier. That's what this kid is saying. Yeah. It's mainly this Mike Owings, and then there's a couple of peripheral kids that kind of say that too. So February 25th now, the next day after that, sheriff's deputies search Simmons' residence, and they get a search warrant. In his closet, they find a recently fired shotgun containing an expended 20-gauge shell, number 6 shotgun shell.
So he didn't even expel the fucking. What are you doing, man?
It couldn't get. Well, he says the problem is it's a federal firearms number 6 shell, but it has a they find non-federal primer with this. You got to know about guns a lot. This is a
brand.
This is what I mean. And the primer, it's a very complicated.
So
thing
it's
with
a reloaded shell, is what it is.
Yes, but they're talking. It gets more complicated.
Okay.
They also discovered in a plastic bag they found wet shoes with a tread design resembling a Sheriff's County description of a tread imprinted in the snow near the entry of Jason's trailer. And we'll talk about that also. It snowed during the night. Okay. It snowed between midnight and 2:30 in the morning.
Okay.
So they find footprints leading to the trailer. No footprints leading away from the trailer in the snow. Okay. So unless somebody came out and literally traced their footprints backwards through the snow perfectly, you would have noticed that.
And also, did the son come home and went to bed, or was he already home?
I guess he was already home when the father went to bed.
So whoever's footprints those are is the killer.
And I guess, but then how'd they get away?
Yeah.
Where'd they go?
Yeah, that's
Did
weird.
they disappear? Did they beam themselves up? That's
bizarre.
That's the bizarre thing. And so also it's always about resembling a sheriff's deputy description of the tread imprint. There's no
nobody took a fucking picture?
Well, it's snow. I think it got snowed over or whatever. So it's sort of like that.
Got it.
So they're going with similar to. Yeah. This is like in the 80s when they would convict people on blood type similar to, or hair found on the scene similar to the defendants, not a DNA match, that sort of thing.
That's awful.
Yeah, I would say so. But this is wet shoes that they say resembled that. Also, they seize a pack of filterless cigarettes, a bottle of oil used, what the police say used in an attempt to burn down the trailer that Jason was in, journals with satanic symbols, books on Satanism, including witchcraft books, and a Derringer, a small little gun like a Old West prostitute. Also uncovered a pipe bomb, so they brought the bomb squad in because they didn't know if that was like an active pipe bomb, so the bomb squad took that apart. Simmons is arrested, and he is charged with murder and use of a deadly weapon, burglary, and possession of an explosive device.
Okay, at best,
bad charges.
Yeah, but at best, the evidence is super circumstantial.
And
like
based
everything.
based on what 3 kids overheard in a hallway, and what literally 1 kid was told
this
allegedly.
Is not good.
Especially when you hear that kid has also issues and issues with. That are
so did
just
they
as much
find
as this kid.
A burned spot on the fucking trailer? Like the dad could have been burned in there too?
They could have been burned. He could have been burned alive in a tin trailer. He survived Vietnam, but not living in a fucking trailer in Dayton. So this Simmons, he's from Stagecoach, Nevada, by the way, nearby. They all go to Dayton High School, all these kids that we're talking about. They all go to school together. Okay. Now, in court, Simmons' lawyer is a guy named Bill Rogers. He seeks to have his client transferred to a juvenile center in Carson City or in Reno to keep him away from adult inmates in the Lyon County Jail, which if you're somebody's lawyer, you should probably request that. He also asked for a gag order on witnesses and family members because of the publicity in the case. It's a tiny town, and this is a huge deal.
Of course.
And it gets out right away that the first thing that comes out is, and one kid was a Satanist, and he's a satanic cult killer of another kid, and so everybody freaked the fuck out and lost their minds.
And back then, everybody wanted to blame like heavy metal music and stuff.
This was huge.
Anything that wasn't Barry Manilow all of a sudden caused crime.
It was big in the early 90s. They were really ramping up trying to censor shit and all that. That was a huge deal. That caused this. Like, sorry, but your explicit fucking lyrics label and all that shit caused people to go the opposite way. Sure. It just everything that happened in the 90s, that shit caused.
But putting that label on that music was fucking awesome.
Made it great.
Made that music
popular.
Fantastic.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. Thanks for telling me which ones I want to buy. Appreciate it. That's all it did.
Dumb white people. You made Ice Cube rich as fuck.
Sorry, as soon as Bob Dole tells me not to listen to something as a 15-year-old, I'm like, it must be good. That's why that old fart doesn't want me to listen to it. So.
Thanks, Tipper, for telling me about
Tipper
Eminem.
Gore,
he was fantastic.
Fuck, man. A 2 Live Crew. I was like, as a 10-year-old white child, I didn't know much about 2 Live Crew. I appreciate Congress for informing me. Thank you.
You gave people like Marilyn Manson so many more gigs because he's brilliant as a thinker and a speaker, and he'd sit down on these panels. You'd put him on on Phil Donahue and pay him more money.
That's great.
The amount of money that was made because of that fucking label.
He was so
insane.
Smart, so fucking smart, Marilyn Manson, with everything he did too. Yeah, he is brilliant. So he wants the gag order here. He says says that the lawyer says, quote, a circus atmosphere has surrounded this case from the beginning. The judge denies both requests. Yeah. He says that Simmons is being tried as an adult and will remain in an isolation cell in the adult jail. Yeah. So he's going to stay in the adult jail, but not going to get raped by older men. So I guess that's good.
Yeah.
Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Simply Safe Home Security.
SimplySafe.com.
That is SIMPLI safe.com. We love this alarm system. This is a really awesome, convenient, it gives you peace of mind. It's everything you need to protect your home, nothing you don't. Most of these alarm companies are really annoying because they load your home up with obnoxious hardwired technology and you wait forever to have it installed. You're bombarded with contracts and all this type of thing. Simply Safe is different. It doesn't do any of that stuff. It's security you actually want. It's designed so you won't notice it. You never have to think about it. It's that easy. It's intuitive. There's no contract. They work hard to earn your business. That's how they're going to keep your business. They're going to earn it. They're not going to just tie you in with a contract that you're forced to stay there.
Make you love it.
That's right. 24/7 monitoring, police and fire dispatch, just $15 a month for that, $15 a month. Comprehensive protection for your windows, doors, every single room, backups, protecting your home. Even if you lose power, you lose internet, someone attacks the system, it's all backed up, no problem at all. Right. It's won Editor's Choice Awards from CNET, PC Magazine, and The Wirecutter. And Simply Safe protects over 2 million people. Visit simplysafe.com today for free shipping and free returns on a 60-day risk-free trial. Go now, simplysafe.com/small. simplysafe.com/small.
SIMPLISAFE.com/small. And now back to the show.
So while Brian Simmons is sitting in jail, he's got a girlfriend. He's got a girlfriend named Jessica. She is one of Mike Owings' best friends also. Because in high school, everybody knows each other. And I grew up next door to this one. And so that's also...
It's like a point of pride to put the face to the name. Like you say, I know that person. You don't know shit about them, but you're aware of their existence.
Yeah. Well, these people, I guess Mike and her were pretty close friends. Mike and Jessica were, quote, one of their best friends, which is everyone you know in high school. So they talked at school, and Mike said that Jessica told him that Brian wanted to talk to Mike on the telephone from jail. Okay. He said that Mike told, I guess she had contact with Brian Simmons from jail, and was telling Mike Owings that Brian wants to talk to you.
Got it.
So after school, this is all Mike Owings' story, Mike asked his father what he should do after school, apparently, and he says that his father told him to report the matter to the officer at the Lyon County Sheriff's Department who is in charge of the case to, keep them abreast of everything.
Yeah.
So the officers, when he went and said that, they said, well, this sounds terrific. You definitely want to talk to him, and we want to record that shit. Yeah. As a matter of fact, you do that. You talk to them. They got a judge to approve a telephone, intercept of this whole thing.
Sure.
And they said that there was probable cause to believe that Simmons would discuss the pending charges, so why not? Yeah. They said he had discussed it. He admitted to it in the hallway to Mike, so now let's get him on.
And he wants to talk to Mike.
And he wants to talk to Mike, so let's get him on tape. So Mike, consents to the whole thing. He says that he agreed to it, quote, to see in case Brian said anything about Jason and just for my protection and my family's protection. He says his father and the officer both say that Mike was told that he didn't have to accept the call, and there was no agreement concerning any lenient treatment for Mike in his prior substance abuse arrests that he's had. This kid, Mike has issues. That's what I mean. He has issues, and they're saying we didn't make any deal with him, telling him that. But if you have drug charges and you entrap a murderer, they're going to let you off those drug charges.
At minimum, you're getting off the drug charges.
Yeah, there's no. They always say that we have no agreement with him. They never have. Trust me, I've read so much mob shit. There's never been an agreement in place for sentencing or for anything until the person who you testified against is over with, and then you get that. Just so you can say there's no agreement in place. It's the only reason why. And sometimes there is an agreement, but
at least.
Yeah, but that's exactly what it is. Nothing written down. They're like, if you do do this, we're going to help you out on that.
Until it doesn't happen, and then they fucking start singing about it.
That's the other thing.
Right.
Yeah. So prior to this, they said they told Mike, the officer says that he told Mike not to intentionally seek out incriminating evidence from Brian, rather just be a listening post, is the way he put it. During the conversation, though, the officer didn't do anything to keep Mike from eliciting anything from him. He didn't say, like, hey, don't say that when he said something, or slap him on the leg or some shit when he was doing anything. So
he didn't coach the phone call.
He didn't coach it during
while it was going on.
He just let a teenager sit there and talk to another teenager on the phone, and didn't give him any instructions. Basically, let him investigate himself here on this one. So Simmons obviously knows that the call subject to being recorded. He's in fucking jail, so he has no expectation of privacy whatsoever here. This is the phone call that we have. I have the transcript of the phone call here, and I'll read it quickly and go through it. Okay, so Brian, the beginning of it, Brian says, yep, I wonder. I'm just going to say Brian, his line, then Mike, and then his line. So Brian, yep, I wonder. Mike, what do you wonder? Brian, okay, let me ask you a few questions. Mike, yeah. Brian, if you got shot, Mike says, Brian, and killed with a 20 gauge, Mike says, going into it. Brian, and BBs went through your lungs and through your heart and into your chest, would you be instantly dead? Mike, I'd imagine so if you got shot through the heart. Brian, yeah. Mike, why? Or could you be alive, Brian says, or could you be alive to move like 3 feet opposite direction of which you were? Mike, probably not, because anybody who'd get your heart. Brian, okay, good. Then I've been framed. Mike, huh? Brian, then I was framed. Mike, you were framed? Brian, oh yeah. Mike, did Jason move or anything? Brian, I don't know. I can't tell you. And then there's laughter from Brian, and he says, quote, I was told not to tell anyone anything about the case. Mike, oh. Brian, but I know everything about, so no big deal. That's why I think it's ironic. Mike, ironic? Brian, ironic. Mike, so you think you'll be getting out tomorrow or Thursday? Brian, yep. So it's gone to that. Mike, are you going to be able to go to school if you get out? Brian, no, I don't want to go get mobbed. Mike, who'd mob you, dude? Brian, I don't know. Do you? A heartbeat? Mike, dude, there's only a couple people that even know what happened. Brian, what do you mean that know what happened? Mike, that know what happened. Brian, there's no one that knows what happened. There's me who knows what happened. There's God who knows what happened. Mike, kind of weird to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Brian, and there's Satan who knows what too. Oh, I'm reading all the reports and stuff. That's pretty interesting. The coronary reports and stuff like that. He means coroner,
right.
The coroner reports. So it's him, God, and Satan, and there's coroner reports. But him, God, and Satan know what happened.
They know.
And the coronary reports are there.
I like that it's ironic, James.
It's ironic.
It's not ironic.
No, that's why he was like ironic. He just said ironic and then moved on. And it keeps going here.
Have you been listening to Alanis Morissette?
Have you been? It just came out, I think, right? It's 93, so maybe not. But
you trying to tell me you like something new?
Are you writing for some Canadian lady who sings in an annoying fashion? So
you know the definition as well as she does.
Exactly. I don't even think he meant coincidental. No. I just think he pulled a word out of his ass that he heard. He thinks the coroner reports the coronary report. So I think irony might be lost on the young man.
I think you might be right.
So he says the coronary reports and stuff like that. Mike says, Brian, they took the dead body for an autopsy. Mike, Brian, and it's pretty neat. Mike, can you believe it's pretty neat, the autopsy? It's pretty neat. Which I know a lot of people who love watching autopsy shows and shit.
I can't watch the autopsy happen, but
I can read about it. I do all the time.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Brian, Mike says, can you believe he came up clean? Brian, who? Who the fuck else are we talking about? The dead fucking guy that you're talking about. Mike says, Jason. Brian, clean with what? Mike, he had no dope in his system, dude. Brian, bullcrap. Mike says, quote, that's what the witchamajoo said.
He called him a Jew.
I think he called the doctor a witchamajoo. Yeah. That is some white trash shit right there.
Also,
where any doctor or lawyer is a, quote, witchamajoo.
Sounds like your friend just didn't inhale, bro. When you guys were all smoking, he just wanted you to accept him.
No shit. This is fucking, He was just like, I just want friends.
He came up clean because he doesn't fucking care about getting high. He just wants to be friends.
So Brian says, quote, no way. Who said that? Mike, Jenny, who's Rose, the girlfriend. Brian, what? Jenny's this stupid little try to get me. Dude, she's covering up everything because she's trying to nail me the hardest. Saying stuff like I loved her and I wanted her and all that. Mike, what a freak. Brian. Brian, she's human. I can't. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised one bit. But you know I don't really care because I can prove every statement made against me is false. Mike, that's cool. And that's the end of the conversation.
Oh, God. I don't want anything taped of me when I was fucking 16 years old.
You sound like a fucking moron, no matter what.
Dipshit.
Now,
and they know everything, those fucking assholes. And conversation.
This is what I mean. This kid, okay, I'll give Brian this. He sounds like an asshole.
Yeah.
He's definitely an asshole, but I don't know if that means he's a murderer, a murdering asshole. One thing that I noticed here about this call is that he never incriminates himself completely.
No.
He asks questions, but that's also questions based on he just read a bunch of autopsy reports and he's saying, I wonder if it's definitely suspicious, this call. I'm not saying this is a fine call to have, but he never says, when I shot him in the fucking back, this is what happened. Like, that never happens.
The problem is he says he knows what happened.
I know what happened. Yeah.
Shitty.
But he could mean, he could say he means I know what happened, whereas I know where I was and I know I wasn't there.
Or he could mean,
I don't know what the fuck.
I read autopsy reports and I know he was shot in the back.
Well, that's what he says too. He says there's only one thing there's only one that knows what happened. There's me who knows what happened. There's God who knows what happened. Then Mike says, kind of weird to hear you say that. He says, and there's Satan who knows that too. And then he says in the next breath, in the same statement, I'm reading all the reports and stuff. That's pretty interesting. The coronary reports and stuff like that. So he literally could mean, I know what's going on because I'm reading all these reports, because that's exactly how he said it, in line with that shit.
But if you know that, then the coroner knows what happened.
That's what I mean.
Police know what happened.
That's what I'm saying.
Anybody that reads the autopsy report telling somebody knows what happened.
This is at best a wash, this phone call. It's at best a wash.
This is a weak phone call.
It's a weak phone call. It's nothing that I would convict a child of murder on. No. But you'd be surprised how much that came into play. Before the trial, during the pre-trial time, Simmons here, Brian, moves to have as lawyers do. I'm sure he couldn't fill the paperwork out himself.
He can't say coronary.
I was going to say that would be
coroner. He can say coronary.
My client has a problem with the coronary report. It's not to his liking.
Christ.
So they moved to prohibit the state from admitting the telephone conversation into evidence. Brian insists that the state knowingly violated his Sixth Amendment right to counsel by recording the conversation. They say that this underscores the first excerpt where Mike says, "Did Jason move or anything?" as an example of Mike's effort to elicit incriminating information. Okay. But that's also said in a time where Brian brought up the whole thing. Right. So that was just conversational, I feel like. Anyway, the district court denies the motion, finding that the state's involvement with Mike Owings was not sufficient to create an agency relationship. Because what you have to say is that Mike was acting as an agent of the state when he did that, which he fucking was acting as an agent of the state. But that would be that every single person who ever sets up anybody with wearing a wire was an agent of the state at the time, and blah, blah, blah. So it's the same shit. Like, there'd never be a mob boss put in prison if this worked, if you could just say that about everything. So that's how that goes. Simmons also seeks to have the district court suppress all items taken from his home, including a book on witchcraft, which the state reads excerpts from in court to say that he's, into Satan and shit, which I fucking hate when they do that bullshit. They said that the witchcraft book was in plain view and constituted relevant evidence, so they deny that also. So everything he has motions for ahead of time is denied.
Dan Cummins is a serial killer. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, yeah,
the man has so many books on serial killers.
Jesus Christ.
And you have so many books on homicide. I should leave right now.
We would be fucked.
And be thankful to have the skin on my back.
If you look through my shit and you'd be like, oh, he absolutely killed anybody that you fucking think that he killed, because
crazy.
All he cares about is murder. It's literally all. He has so many reports, and this is weird. Psychological.
You should see what his Google search looks like.
Oh, my God.
This man Googled.
You don't even want to know my Google search. The horrors that lie within there. Jesus Christ. Imagine that. Imagine that, looking through your history and seeing the shit that I have on there. Autopsies.
Crime scene footage of teenage rape and murder. And James has it.
I've seen it.
He's got pictures.
Old ladies.
Screenshots.
That's fantastic. Yeah, just what I always wanted.
Yeah.
Always wanted. But if I don't know that, then I can't make jokes around that, Jimmy.
Right.
So we have to know where the line is. So
thank God this podcast can be found by police.
No shit. Yeah. We didn't do it. We swear. We're just interested. So June 1st, 1993, the trial begins. Okay. Now, Kopach's father, Jason's father, says he didn't know that Brian Simmons was involved in Satanism. He said that they tried to say that there was a link between the crime and Dungeons and Dragons, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world, because most of the kids that play Dungeons and Dragons are pretty fucking. They're the kids who aren't fucking up. They're like.
They're also, they're little.
Well, also
they're feeble.
They're usually the smarter kids too that play that, because it's a very complicated fucking thing. So it's usually like smarter kids, and there might be sometimes like a weirder kid, but they're smart usually, and they're usually not the wild criminal type.
Peanut allergy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what exactly. So he says he doesn't know what caused, Kopach says he doesn't know what caused Brian to kill his son. Yeah. He said that they had been friends before that. He said, quote, Brian has spent the night at my home a few times before. He just didn't understand what the fucking story was to him. He was just like, I don't know why they weren't in a fight. They never had any beef. I can't understand why this guy would kill my son. But I don't understand how anyone did it, as we'll get into this evidence here. Okay. They read from his book. Okay. If you'd like me to read
Brian's book.
This is the excerpt they read from his notebook, because they find a couple of notebooks and shit that kids have around.
Sure.
Like under his drawer, he had like a notebook and a pack of cigarettes and, a fucking hustler. Right. Yeah. Like, he seems like a hustler guy. I would
Maybe
think.
Club.
Oh, Club. Yeah.
Club is the one.
That's a sleazy one. Yeah. Very sleazy. My uncle used
to have those, and it was so creepy.
That's the type that
take a shit at his house, and there's like 6 of them right on the countertop.
That's the Club is the magazine.
I'm 11.
50-year-old men kept out in the open on top of their toilets in the bathroom, and you'd be like, wow, cool.
What the fuck
Ew,
is this?
What is that?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had a lot of questions. I had a lot of questions.
What? She has a smile on her face.
She seems to be liking it, but I don't think so.
No.
She's an actress.
She may be forced to do this.
Should we help her? This magazine came out 5 years ago. Never mind. Fuck.
She's dead by now.
She's probably dead. She either escaped or she's dead. I don't know. But if it was recent, I'd contact the authorities.
Fingers crossed.
So they read from his book, and they read the statement here, quote, and this is all different ones. They kind of combine into one big amalgamation of his feelings. Which, imagine taking a bunch of statements from a large volume of writings and then just taking a bunch of separate ones, putting them together, and be like, that's his mission statement right there.
That fits your narrative.
That's his mission statement. That's what he meant. It says, quote, I will torture you, burn in hell. Now, these are also excerpts of lyrics. Some of these are out of place with the rest of the lyrics.
You can't do that.
So like in a song, if there's 6 lines of lyrics, and one of them is like, you burn in hell, I'll kill you, and the rest of them aren't, they'll just take burn in hell, I'll kill you, and then put that with other shit, not in the context of the lyrics.
It's the equivalent of going through your boyfriend's phone and making a conversation that didn't happen. This is fucked up.
So I will torture you, burn in hell, I hate your guts. So does Satan. You will be the victim in sacramental death, which sounds like a metal song lyric. You made your deathbed, and I will lay you in it. Murder, murder, commit cold-blooded murder. I want to hate. I want to see hell. I must curse God's name. Please let me in. Satan, give me the power to do evil. I want to walk this world without a heart, tear innocent souls apart, which definitely sounds like a lyric. I want to look into a man's eyes and have him scream in fear. Satan, will you be my father? Which he's clearly looking out for some parental guidance. There's nothing wrong with that.
He needs a dad.
Teach me all your magic. If you knew someone who knew magic, turn my heart black, which these are all, take away my conscience to kill for you. Beware me. I can in turn kill again. He must die. I'm not afraid to shoot strangers. In the name of Satan, your murder will be done. Maybe for no reason. I must kill him. Satan, give me a sign. Give me the guts to kill for you. See your blood as I cut you in little pieces and mail your body parts to your parents. In the name of Satan, your sacrifice will be done.
That's a lot to write out, though.
It's a lot.
You know what I mean?
But this
Even
was
if you cull that from a huge catalog of writings.
Well, it was like 3 spiral notebooks that they found.
That's a lot of horrible things to write down.
It's a bunch of satanic fucking horseshit teenager bullshit, which, like I said, you could take that in multiple ways. You could take that as those are his thoughts. You could take that as he felt like writing some shit down. Yeah. You could take, there's so many fucking ways to take
this. But if his buddy found those and if there's no crime and your friend is just over and he reads that stuff, you're being made fun of forever. Like that, you're never living down. I want to walk this world without a heart.
Yeah,
that's not even possible, Dick.
No, hey, listen, we got to talk anatomy. Didn't you read the coronary report? What's fucking wrong with you, bro? He had to have a heart.
What a dipshit.
So one of the witnesses took the stand was Michael Owings, the kid who said that, he told him everything. He says that he spoke of Brian talked to him about his fascination with Satan and murder. He said, quote, he talked about killing people and raping people. I kind of ignored it. It didn't seem real. Okay. He also said that Simmons had asked Owings prior to the killing if he wanted to help Brian blow up the Kopak home. The Kopak home. He's like, want to blow it up with me? And so he said no, Michael Owings, he says. Owings also said that Brian pulled him aside the morning of the murder and told him in detail what he did and what type of weapon he used. He said, quote, Mike, I did it. I shot Jason. I always thought they were friends, but I guess Brian had something against Jason, is what he says. This is all very, clean. It's all very too clean. Yeah. There's one kid that he goes up to and just says, I did it, here's all the details, everything else, and then doesn't say shit about it to anybody else, to his girlfriend. Right. It's a little odd. On the night of the murder, Simmons' mother, Annalea Simmons, was up during the night, and she says that her son did not leave. She said she was sick that night. She has a stomach condition. She said she was up a bunch of times that night, really never got into a good sleep that night. Her son never left, is what she says. She was there the whole time. Also, his younger sister, Cheryl, testifies that she got up at least twice, once at 12:30 and once again at 1:30, and both times she saw her brother Brian in the living room, which is there's no way he could have done that because Stagecoach is 15 miles away. So they're saying that there's no way that Simmons could have left his home in Stagecoach after 12:30, gone to the Kopak's trailer, committed the murder by 1:20, and then been back at his home by 1:30. Okay. So they're saying there's no way he could have done all this in the hour that he had doing that. The other part of it is that there's a lot of snow evidence that doesn't add up in the favor of him doing this, of there being any way for him to do this. One of the things is a testimony of a woman named Sonia Sachs. She's a cook at the Dayton schools. This is what I mean. If we were like NPR or something, we'd go to this fucking town, talk to all these people, and this would be a 10-part series because there's so much here.
This is deep.
This shit is deep. The Sonia Sachs, she's a cook at the Dayton schools. She testified she was the first person to arrive on the morning of February 24th at the school. This is where Simmons said that he told Mike, or Mike says that Simmons told him that he parked his mother's car there while he committed the murder. Okay. He said he drove to the school, parked his mother's car there, and then walked to go do the murder. Okay. Somehow got in with one set of footprints and all that sort of thing. But Mrs. Sachs, the Sonia Sachs, testifies that she saw no tire tracks in the snow at the place where Mike said that Simmons told him he parked his mother's car on the night of the murder. There was no if you park a car when it's snowing, when you leave, there's an indent where there's less snow because your car was over it. And also there's fucking tire tracks. And she said
fucking mud that comes through the snow.
That's all that shit. Fresh. Yep. She said there was no tire tracks. There was no indentation of a car being parked. There's no tracks in or out. Nothing. She was the first one, fresh, clean, beautiful, pristine snow. Snow there. So that's an impossibility that he definitely didn't park the mother's car there because that's not possible.
And as much as that's a great argument for he didn't do it, it also could be
he could have parked somewhere else.
He lied to Mike.
That's the other thing. He's a murderer, could also be a liar. You never know. This is what I mean.
They're generally not far off from each other.
That's the thing.
I found that.
And it's this is so Adnan type, you know what I mean? It's like, well, maybe she was in the trunk. Well, maybe Jay was telling the truth, but then maybe why would she? Wasn't. Maybe he's who the fuck knows? There's as much chance that this is true as that's true. Yeah. So she saw none of that shit there. So yeah, because of the timing of the murder in relation to the snowfall, the tire tracks should have been observable. Obviously,
Absolutely.
Here they would have been left, and she would have seen that. So this is a problem for this defense, and later on, a judge in an appeals court will call this the quote snow problem. Which there's several of them.
Okay.
There's also the prosecution places a lot of reliance on a drawing that was found in Simmons' school locker. Okay, the student told law enforcement people that Simmons had drawn him a map of a residence that he planned to burn down. This was 5 or 6 days after the student made the statement to the police. They searched his school locker, and they found that the lock was unsecured, and also that several people knew the combination to the locker.
Well, that doesn't help.
So if you search something 6 days later, anybody could have put anything in there that doesn't belong to him. It was never secured.
It wasn't even fucking locked.
Yeah, it wasn't secured. You can't. It's not valuable to you if it's not secured.
Doesn't mean anything.
But they finally do search it anyway. This is 3 weeks after the murder, so God knows what the hell was put in the kid who's in jail for murder's locker. If everybody knows it, are you fucking kidding me? They recover, police from the locker, a crude drawing of a rectangular object, which they claim to be the floor plan of the Kopex trailer home. It's just a rectangle. You don't have to draw that. No. I'm going to see that rectangle. I'm going to burn the rectangle, and then it goes up in flame. You can just say that. You don't have to draw that out. It's not complicated. He said, but nothing about the drawing can be concluded that this was a drawing of the trailer park home, of Kopex trailer home. Also, it was found in his locker. There's nothing to connect him to it. It doesn't match any of the paper, doesn't match any of Simmons' notebooks, or there's no writing on the drawing either to match handwriting to it. The locker was unsecured for 5 or 6 days. Even if they could establish that Simmons had drawn a map of some kind of trailer home, that doesn't mean that he killed anybody. So none of this is,
unless there's flames on the front of a building, and there's
Jason's
like a
house with an arrow.
Right.
Yeah.
And
dead Jason.
And the outline of a fucking, like a chalk outline.
Yeah.
Is in the exact spot where the dude was dead.
And you have like his address written in another little arrow.
And a 20-gauge shotgun laying nearby.
Yeah. Also, they talk about how it's very troublesome that there's no gunshot or other unusual sounds heard by anyone in the vicinity of the trailer on the night of the murder. The Kenneth Bradley, like we talked about, that neighbor, he testified that he heard nothing and that his dogs did not bark during the night. If there's a goddamn gunshot that goes off next to your fucking house and you live in a trailer, your dogs are barking.
And if your dog didn't do anything when
your
that
dog
happened,
sucks.
You don't have a dog. You have a cat.
You have a cat, yeah. If they just rolled over.
That's a worthless fucking animal.
That's do your job. So it's only 30 feet, his trailer, from their trailer. So it's 30 feet away,
even if
tin reverberation.
Even if the dog's like one of those ones that freaks out at the sound of fireworks, at least it gives you some sort of report that some shit's going on.
That's the thing.
If it does absolutely nothing, fuck that dog.
Something. Yeah,
shoot it. It's not going to notice.
So yeah, be like, huh? So they said a videotape made during the initial investigation of the scene contained the sound of Bradley's dogs barking. So he says his dogs are fucking barkers. He says they are always barking at everything. If a cat jumps on a shed, they're going to bark at it.
Good dogs.
Yeah, they're good dogs. So he said the only question, and it was weird, we'll talk about this later, but later on, the jury will ask the judge one question during deliberation. They'll send a note asking to be told again whether anyone had heard the dogs barking the night of the murder, and no one had heard them barking. None of the neighbors heard them barking. Nobody heard them barking. They think that Bradley says he would have heard a gunshot and his dogs would have definitely barked. Also, the state's case rests on Mike's testimony. If you take Mike out of it, he's the J of this case. Like if you're a serial listener, he's the J. If you take Mike out of this scenario,
it's useless.
There is no case. There's a kid who has some metal lyrics and some satanic shit written in some notebooks and somebody dead. And the way the snow prints go, you're looking at his dad as the killer first.
There's one set going in and nobody coming out.
And somebody shot him. And here's the thing I don't get to. And I'm not trying to blame this guy's father, because I hate when people during serial made wild accusations. Everybody, he's the killer. This one's the killer. I'm just saying that, and I'm kind of doing that, but I'm not trying to. I don't want to incite this, but
the best suspect is the dad.
Dude, if it's very not likely that someone came in and out of the house and the kid was definitely shot in the living room, which he definitely was. And the dad is 10 fucking feet away in a tin trailer and would probably wake up from a shotgun blast, and he's saying he didn't. I'm suspicious of either that or this was some sort of supernatural shotgun blast that nobody heard and dogs didn't bark. This shit's fucked up. Now, Mike, they try to impeach his credibility a little bit because there's several facts about Mike that are kind of under the radar.
Yeah, unsavory.
One, that he's been hospitalized for various psychological problems. Okay. He says that he was put in an institution for a while because him and his dad were, quote, having some problems. Problems that I've had some problems with my parents. I never ended up in an institution, so that's more than some problems.
If you got problems with your parents and they're not fucking beating you unmercifully or sexually assaulting you, you're just an asshole.
You're just you're just a kid. Right. You know what that's called? Being a kid.
Right.
You know what happens?
You graduate and you get the fuck out.
Eventually, you'll be 18 and you'll leave, and then it's all cured.
And that's over.
Time cures all with that.
And I'll bet you love him later too.
Yeah, and you will. You'll go, I was kind of a dick. I was kind of a dick when I was a kid because we all were.
I'm really sorry I gave you so many problems, Dad. Remember when I said that we had problems? I had problems.
I had a lot of. I was fucked up. So Mike has been hospitalized for that. He's had drug and alcohol addiction. He has expressed to other people outwardly, people at the facility that he was at and everything, a desire to kill his parents.
Jesus.
So he's not exactly he said, like, I want to kill. I've had, fantasies of killing my parents and shit like that. So he's not a perfect guy that you're taking. And he had, like I said, he could have had just as much motive, just as much availability, just as much everything as this Brian Simmons kid. But he is positive that it's all Brian and nothing else.
He's as stable as he is reliable at this point.
At this point, he's the Heyman's boyfriend Don. He's the Don. The other one's the Jay. It's insane. So at the trial, he testifies that he used narcotics since the preliminary hearing. So between the hearing and this trial, which is less than a month, he has used narcotics since then. He says about 3 weeks before the trial. So he's saying, I've used drugs recently. Sure. He also admitted to smoking weed approximately a week prior to Jason's death, which doesn't mean anything at all. But he's just trying to say that they're trying to say, hey, you're not some perfect fucking upstanding little honor student that this kid came up and told you about a murder. You're just as much of a scumbag as he is. As far as kids go,
which is a dumb way to get him to say he's an asshole.
But you kind of have to do, you have to say, they're gonna dress the kid up in a suit and put him up there looking perfect, like he just came from Sunday school, and say this horrible Satanist kid told me he killed another guy, and you have to go, hold on a second,
you smoke weed, right?
You got a crack pipe in your pocket, right? Like, what the fuck here? Right. So they also said that he was on probation with juvenile authorities because of his drug violations at the time this was going on. As a term of his probation, he'd been required to provide urine samples for testing. Once he became an informant for the state, he had never had another urine test again in his probation.
That's convenient.
All of a sudden that went away. Also, he was never brought to court after that to answer for his admitted drug offenses in the past that he was on the hook for at the time. All that shit went away.
That's too much.
Which you would expect.
Yeah.
The defense proposes that Mike is the murderer. They said he's the fucking murderer. That's their alternate theory, is that Mike did it. They said that Mike had a motive to try to frame Brian, which if he's the murderer, then that would be a motive at that point. They proposed that Mike had every reason to try to give the state what it wanted in terms of evidence against Brian. He was frequently in trouble with the authorities. His cooperation with the police in this case gave him, an opportunity to get his own charges taken off. And he was very forthcoming and very helpful. Just open. And for a kid who's had problems with the cops a lot in 1993.
That's not a guy that's going to speak.
That's not a guy that's looking for cops to talk to. I was one of that kid. I was that kid, and I was not going to fucking tell I could have seen somebody kill someone in front of me. I would have been like, I didn't see shit. Fuck you. Yeah, not happening. No, what are you going to listen to fucking body count cop killer and then go ask him? Because that's what he was listeing to. Probably.
Really?
No, I'm just saying. It was 1993. Yeah. So who knows what the hell's going on? They keep saying that, well, yeah, he said he just admitted that since he started talking to the cops, he's been able to do drugs again because he doesn't get drug tested anymore. And now his other drug charges are dropped. But all he has to do is go, Brian told me that they killed. Could be true, could be not. Who the hell knows? Also, they talk about the student who discovered the trailer home sketch. They said that this child had no motive for fabricating testimony, but the only thing worth noting about that is that he is Mike's brother's best friend who found this. Yeah. This is all he's the only kid in the school that found this thing.
Why does Mike keep coming back to being the hero of this story?
That's what I mean. Everything. His brother's best friend find it. It's so weird. This student testified further that he had heard Brian talk about murder and mayhem and Satanism, as he put it. He also testified that he believed Simmons was all talk. He said that his bizarre rantings he thought, this was a child speaking, this this kid's smart, by the way. He's on the honor roll and shit. Okay. He said that he thought in his teenage mind that the rantings were a defense to cover up his adolescent insecurities.
Wow.
Which, yes, good.
That's beautiful.
You've been to therapy, son. You've been watching a lot of fucking Sally Jesse Raphael or whatever the fuck was on back then.
How many pills do you take in the morning, son?
Oh, shit. Jesus Christ, man. Going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about TrueCar.
TrueCar.com.
What is MSRP?
It's confusing. That's what it is.
It's exactly what it is. If you're looking to buy a car, you're probably familiar with terms like MSRP. You might even know what it stands for, but what does it actually mean? Same goes for invoice, list price, dealer price. It's enough to confuse anybody. All you really want, all you really need is a price that actually means something to you, the buyer. Introducing True Price from TrueCar. Now you can know exactly what you'll pay for the car you want, including fees and accessories, before you even get to the dealership. TrueCar dealers will show you the true price on cars like the one you want, all from the comfort of home. And how do you know if your true price is a great price? Because TrueCar shows you what all the other people paid for the same car you want. And your certified dealers know this, and so they set their true price competitively so they can win your business. So when you're ready to buy a new or used car, great site for used cars. Once you register, you'll see real pricing on actual inventory. This is competitive pricing offered to you only by a TrueCar certified dealer for an actual vehicle on their actual lot. It's pricing you'll see before going to a dealership so you can feel confident when you show up. TrueCar customers are more likely to enjoy a faster buying process when they connect with TrueCar certified dealers, while they save an average of over $3,000 off MSRP.
What a deal.
So let me tell you this from us. When you're ready to buy, visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. Some features not available in all states.
Yes, that's true. But go to TrueCar.com to find out. And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, if you like this show that you're listening to here, then check out the Steve Austin Show each Tuesday and Thursday exclusively on Podcast One. Join the Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer and action movie star as he shares tales from his new life, unbelievable past adventures, and covers all the happenings in the pro wrestling world. So don't miss the Steve Austin Show each week on Podcast One. And also, remember to rate and review.
And now back to the show.
Now, one more thing. Simmons' younger sister testifies that she saw Simmons, like we said, between 12:30 and 1:30. They also said that if her story, the defense says if her story could be accepted, there's no way that he could have done all this killing.
Yeah.
But they also say that Cheryl gave 4 different versions of her observation of her brother, which isn't good. Her first story was that she did not get up at all. She said, I didn't get up at all. Then she said that she could possibly have seen him during the time. And then under cross-examination, she said that related her second and third versions, which included that she told a friend that she got up at 2 a.m. to get something to eat, and then she said that she saw her brother at 1:30. So she said she got up at 2, and then she said she got up at 1:30. And then on a redirect, she delivered her fourth story, which was that she was up at 12:30 and at 1:30 and saw him on both occasions. So we don't know what the fuck she saw. Who knows, basically. The defense is saying the fourth one sounds good, and the prosecution's going, whatever, any of the rest of them are good for us. We're good with that. So who the fuck knows here?
I wish the fifth one should have been like, I stayed at a friend's house that night.
I wasn't even home. I didn't see shit. I don't know anybody.
Late. I don't know.
Who's Brian again? I have a brother? Wow. I'd love to meet a brother. Wow, that sounds awesome. Oh, he's in jail? Shit. So they said that they said that she got up. She says she got up to put her hamster in the hamster den and then got a drink of water. Gross. And then she said she had got something to eat earlier. Also, it's a school night, so the prosecution's trying to relay like, hey, all this is happening on a school night, so all this is she probably slept through the night. Yeah. And they were
that is weird that there's so much on a school night. There's all these people are up at 1:30 in the fucking morning.
Everybody's up all the time.
Good God.
Brian testifies in his own behalf here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You probably have to.
May as well.
Plus, he's kind of cocky, too. I think he was like, I want to tell my story. Yeah. They said he was calm and composed and expressionless, which I don't know if that's the best way to go.
No.
they're saying cold-blooded murder.
Right. If you're sitting there, yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
But if you're going up to talk, maybe give us some personality, son.
If someone said you went into a rage and started slashing people, then you want to stay calm and cool. But if someone said that you calmly murdered someone in the night, you probably want to act like somebody who's got some energy to you, a little bit of bounce. Yeah. Hey, a little happy-go-lucky action here. So he said, he acknowledges, Brian does, that he has told other students that he was interested in Satanism. Yeah. He said that he's described by other people, think he's shy, and other people have testified in the trial that he's a shy kid, and he talks about Satanism, and other people besides that one kid have said, well, everybody thinks it's just a defense mechanism because he's super shy. Yeah. So it's like, no, I have something. Look, you should be afraid of me too, like everybody else. So that's the other thing. He said that it's a means of appearing weird, so other people would leave him alone and not fuck with him, which was another thing that you do when you're a teenager. If you don't have a lot of friends and if you're not real tough, you act crazy, so no one's like, what you do in jail? Like, I'll act crazy so nobody fucks with me. Like,
that is very strange that jail is very much like high school.
It's exactly like high school.
Maybe that's what they call it when you're off to college.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, when in the mob, when you're in the... It's so weird that, they're training you to be okay with institutionalized horseshit. Sorry, I have a problem with all systems and institutional craziness.
At minimum, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a conspiracy theory that you buy into, it's definitely a very interesting. Yeah. I mean, you're essentially being conditioned to just listen and do what you're told from the second you're born.
To go here on this time and then there on that time, and it's just like a job. You go here on this time, and you go to lunch at 12 o'clock, and you come back and you check out.
And then
they want
in 30
you to
years, you can retire and go do whatever the fuck you want. But then by the time you retire, you can't afford to do whatever the fuck you want, so you got to just do whatever
and you don't have the energy to do it either because life has grinded you down to a nub.
God
and now, yay, world. Yay. So
and round we go. Have goals, guys.
Come on,
because they don't fucking matter.
Everybody have small town murder. Yeah. Have goals because they don't fucking matter. So don't bother. Have them, but then ignore them.
Right.
Yes.
Have them and then don't achieve.
Don't achieve a thing. You'll just be disappointed in yourself. So also, Brian denies any connect. He said that he never had a hit list. He said that they never found a written hit list. Yeah. That's just what Mike Owings said that he said he had a 5-man hit list and one of them was gone. Brian said, I never had a hit list. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. He said that the list that he had was lists of real people interspersed with the names of their fictitious characters from D&D, is what he was saying. So he said that the real names were those of other students who he played the game with. So he was saying that like anything he said about anybody was their characters in D&D because it was in a D&D section of the thing. This is all very confusing and very, muddy.
And doesn't matter to the fucking case. No, this is all garbage.
But they're saying that's a to kill list.
And they're running with this.
And they're running with it. He says, quote, it was not people, it was their characters, is what he said. So he's like, I don't know what you're... And I don't think these prosecutors know what the fuck any of this is, too. He also denied telling other students that he wanted to kill Jason at any time. He's saying it was only Jason's Dungeons and Dragons character that he intended to kill because... that makes sense. Okay. The other students either misunderstood him or were lying, he said. Which, it sounds like it's so full of shit, and then it also sounds like, fuck. It's possible. Like, why would Jay make all that up? But then again, it sounds like he's making all that up. So it's the same. Mike is fucking, it's so weird. Mike is Jay. It's fucking crazy. So, and Dad is Don.
For sure.
You can say. It's just the weirdest shit. So, that's all they concentrated on. They concentrated a lot on the Satanism. In his opening statement, the prosecutor talked about Satanism, introduced the spiral notebooks. Brian admitted to having copied from a book in which witchcraft assorted curses and satanic evocations and ways to call up demons. So he copied. All that shit was literally copying out of a book into your book. He's just, it's it. It's so he would have that, and then he could maybe freak another kid out by having a thing. It's like having a fucking Ouija board,
right?
But next level,
right? Also, let's go back to the murder. Yeah. Where are the fucking raven's claws and chicken's feet and fucking penistars drawn in blood?
None of this also makes blood trails, trails in snow, theories of the crime that don't fucking add up. None of that means any of this shit. This is what was the distraction though, and everybody too, like letters to the editor editor and these local papers were all like, well, all the kids now are into this Satanism and this is what's happening and we got to nip it in the bud. And this is the exact same time as the West Memphis 3 when that was going on, where they convicted those kids who didn't do shit because they listened to fucking music and they were the same kid as this kid.
And that was just Metallica, wasn't it?
That was just Metallica and other shit, but they were the same kids though. These are all the same kids. They're that kid. They're the weird kid that 1993. Yeah, especially, Jesus Christ. Especially then. By 93, they were commercial and they were what your parents listened to.
Kill 'Em All is long gone by
it's
then.
not Ride the Fucking Lightning at that point. So
this is the problem with closed-minded thinking, though. In small towns, in the world over, it's just fucking open your mind and think and listen and understand a fucking thought. Because Marilyn Manson does not promote any sort of murder by any stretch.
Shit, no.
He just promotes being unique. And if that happens to be you fucking yank your eyebrow out on the left side, whatever.
He's like the alt Lady Gaga, man. That's all he fucking is. He's a guy who figured out marketing and figured out. Yeah, that's what exactly. I just meant he's alt and she's like mainstream was all. He turned mainstream on it, but that's just because he was so weird that people took to him. Right. He didn't go to the mainstream.
And now he's on like his 6th cover song.
Yeah,
stop it. Stop being just be original. You fuck.
Yeah, that was better.
Yeah.
So that's all they talk about though is the satanic shit. Now Brian admitted to placing in the notebook pages of the Bible with the word God crossed out whenever it appeared. Oh no, you must be a shotgun murderer if you did that. That's who cares? Honestly,
bananas.
It's so stupid. But in that notebook contained, I guess, the writings that appeared. They said that it appeared original and not copied. That's what the prosecutor said. Okay. Which is. I don't even know what
he's a ghostwriter for whoever wrote that?
They said that doesn't seem copied. Sound like you wrote that out of your mind. It's like, how the fuck do you know? I know what's in every book on earth, so I know you didn't copy it. He said to Simmons, the prosecutor said, quote, you ask for the ability to kill. Later you're saying you want to kill. In every case, you're directing these requests to Satan, which is fucking funny. Simmons acknowledged he had written those statements, but he said it doesn't mean anything. Another testimony, his parents, Simmons' parents, Stephen and Analia, said they believed their son was home all night the night of the murder. Because both said they saw no evidence. They said when they went out to the cars in the morning, there was no footprints, and both cars were equally covered in snow with no tire tracks, indicating that anyone had taken the cars during the night. The cars did not fucking move. Right. So they're like, we went outside in the morning, no fucking car. I mean, they obviously could be saying that to cover up for their son too, but they also could be telling the truth. Right. Other people could be lying to cover up for murder. So this whole thing is a fucking disaster.
Did the cops go and investigate that? Like their fucking job would entail? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did they
that would have been
morning?
After they left already.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
you
who
can't
knows?
Fucking use this.
We don't fucking know.
This is
so
miserable.
They say, to the best of their recollection, they would have definitely noticed if their car had been moved in the snow. They said that would have been a red flag. They would have went, hey, who took our cars in the night? So the mother also testified she had been up most of the night with an illness and heard nothing out of the ordinary to indicate like her son leaving. She didn't hear doors open. She didn't hear cars starting. Nothing at all. She sounds like the nervous type who would have noticed that shit. So that the day he took this, he ends up taking the stand, like we said, and denying all of this shit. He also denied taking his mother's car that night, going anywhere at all that night. He also denied taking the shotgun from his father's closet because he said he didn't. And he said, and big part of the defense is, how would his parents not have noticed him coming into the room and getting a shotgun out of the back of the fucking closet? Like, they would have probably woken up, especially if the mother was sick and not really in a deep sleep all night.
She's up and down all night. You're gonna, honey, where are you going with that shotgun?
Totally. Hey, you'd at least see his silhouette walking out of the door. Hey, Brian, why you got a shotgun in your hand at 1 a.m.?
This is right around Tombstone too. She'd probably scream Johnny Tyler.
Johnny Tyler. Mad cat. So Brian said that the statements that people have made against him were either misunderstood or they're lies, and he just said it's all D&D. Anything that you think is murder is D&D. Yeah. He said the last time he used his father's shotgun was in January, the 20 gauge in question. He said he only shot it once, and since he couldn't remove the expended cartridge, it was stuck in there, jammed. That he didn't end up using it again. Yeah, it never got fired again. He said one of the other weapons removed from his home was a homemade pipe bomb, which he stated was to be used to blow up some rocks behind his home, which, like I've stated before, when I was like 13, We used to blow shit up
all the time.
Nothing bad,
constantly,
but it was shit. Just a bunch of rocks. Hand. Cool, boom, your hand. That was less intentional. That sort of thing. So that's not. And he didn't use the pipe bomb to kill the kid. So whatever.
That's right. Was the kid exploded in the trailer? No, he was shot with a shotgun.
That's the thing. Right. And also during the cross-examination, you can tell this is how a prosecutor would never say this to an adult on the stand. He said to Simmons, quote, "Do you want to end this right now? Do you want to tell us what really happened?" Like, they never say that to an adult, because an adult would go, "Fuck you."
Fuck you talking about,
Fuck you.
Man.
Which this kid said, quote, "I already have." So he held his ground there. They keep bringing up the Dungeons and Dragons game, which I think is fucking nuts. Dungeons and Dragons is not murderous.
This may be the only case that Dungeons and Dragons is used as like a motive.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, it's so stupid. He said that he never told because there's also rumor that he told Jason's girlfriend that he was going to kill Jason, but he says that it's about his D&D character. It was about everything. Holy shit, man. Simmons also said that Mike Owings and Mike Boheimer were two of the main witnesses against him for the prosecution, were lying during their testimonies, that sort of thing here. So Loomis asked about the statements he made in a tape conversation, one of which is simply, quote, this is what he said on one of the things. I saved this for the end. This sounds terrible for Brian Simmons. He said, quote, "I'm innocent under Brian's law," which I don't know what that is, but you can't make up laws and say you're innocent under them. I know that's bad, and that does not sound good.
That's what he said on tape.
On tape, but that could also be fucking...
Because Brian knows the truth, and I didn't do it.
And it could also just be bluster, arrogant. He was like, "I'm getting out tomorrow." Like the whole thing was a fucking acting like it was a joke. Whether he was serious or whether he thought it was a joke, he was putting out that he wanted. That's what the image he wanted to set forth. In the closing argument, the state used the conversation to depict Simmons as a threatening and anxious to inflict punishment on people who conspired to put him in jail. The phone conversation. He's saying that was him saying he's going to lash out at people. He also said the state said to the jury, quote, "Is that tone you heard on that conversation, is that consistent with an innocent boy wrongfully accused of a serious crime? Absolutely not. That tone is consistent with a person who has committed a murder and is doing everything he can do to desperately work his way out of it." I didn't get either one of those. No. I didn't get innocent boy, and I didn't wrongfully accused, and I also didn't get hardcore murderer who's working desperately to get out of it.
I just got teenage boy that doesn't know shit about the law.
I got two jerk-offs talking on the phone who are 15 fucking years old, and all 15-year-olds are idiots. Yeah. It's just the way it is. So sorry if you're 15. If you're listening to this and you're 15, you're probably actually not an idiot. Right. You're probably a pretty fucking cool 15-year-old.
You're probably trying really hard to not be these kids.
Yeah, you agree with us.
Right.
You agree with us.
I got like guy that tapped into the phone lines and was like, "Fuck, I'm listening to this now." I was trying to catch somebody's phone fucking.
I wanted to hear some whacking.
I wanted to hear some. I wanted to catch a housewife. Doing something
rubbing one out on the kitchen table
behind her husband's back.
That's what we want.
And instead, I caught these two assholes talking about Dungeons and Dragons.
This is boring. Yeah,
this is stupid.
So June 13th, 1993, the verdict is read.
Oh boy.
That's the verdict day. Like we said, the jurors submitted a note to the judge asking, did anyone hear the dog barking that night? And the court said no. They gave him an answer of no. The court discussed the question with the counsel, and they all agreed that they wouldn't answer them, though, about it. They just said, basically, whatever you remember is fine. So they didn't tell the jury when the jury asked about the dogs. That was the only question they had.
One question.
They had one while they deliberated. They sent one note. And then usually they send a lot of notes. Hey, this little thing. Hey, did we clear that up? Did we get this straight? They want to get it straight. Yeah. They sent one. Did anyone hear dogs barking that night? And they said, we can't tell you. We can't answer that. You have to go back and look through the testimony.
What is this, a test?
That's what I mean.
This is a kid's life, goddammit.
It's fucking so stupid. So they didn't do that. The jury deliberates for 90 minutes.
Jesus.
90 fucking... Dude, it takes 90 minutes to fill out the paperwork and a murder trial. It literally does.
Relying on memory of whether or not the dog barked in 90 minutes. They're like,
there's no discussion. There's no discuss. You don't have time to discuss in 90 minutes. Literally, that's time for a vote and quickly to fill out the paperwork and say we're done.
That's fast.
In 90 minutes, they find him guilty on all charges. Wow. That includes That includes first-degree murder. That includes with use of a weapon, burglary, this, that, all sorts of shit. They find him. It's fucking nuts. 7 men, 5 women, first-degree murder with use of a deadly weapon, also guilty of burglary and possession of an explosive device. Wow. This is fucking in an hour and a half.
That's some small-town justice.
Yeah, I would say. There are some reactions that are a little stiff to this, including one person, a resident of the town, that said, quote, "The jury I sat on spent more time on a DUI than they did on this murder."
No doubt.
That's right there. Quote, "I'm not surprised about the verdict," said a lot of people just said they weren't. A lot of people just said justice was done because they didn't hear the trial or anything either. They didn't know. Some people said they read the story and they saw some reasonable doubt presented by the defense, especially the one-way steps in the snow and all this technical gun wadding evidence too, which we didn't get into that much. Like we said, if we did a 10-part series, there'd be a whole episode
all on gun
wadding and gun mechanics and how this comes out of this.
The cell phone towers.
Exactly what it would be. That would be our cell phone towers, would be shotgun wadding. July 15th of this year, he's supposed to be sentenced, but they give him a continuance on the sentencing because they bring up some shit here. The motion for the continuance, the defense brings up newfound evidence. They state that on July 2nd, they were given a copy of a report that states on between 4:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. on the day of the murder, February 23rd, Michael Owings was at an apartment located at 369 Dayton Valley Road. Rogers feels that the fact that Owings was at the apartment the evening prior to the death of Kopak is contrary to testimony given by Owings, because this apartment is right by there. Yeah. So Owings was known to be at a very nearby Kopak's residence the night of the murder. The night, the 23rd, that night. So that's fucking crazy, right before the murder. Also, they state that several tenants of this apartment said that on the night of the murder between 1:30 a.m. and 3 a.m., they heard various noises coming from an apartment which had recently been vacated by Owings' girlfriend, and that all the keys they found out were not returned upon her moving out of the apartment. So
there's one out there.
There are outstanding keys. They also said in the motion that the information has been relayed to the Lyon County Sheriff's office by the witness within a few days of the death of Jason Kopak, but was not given to them until July 2nd, not until after the trial. That's when they got this information,
months later,
which seems like it may have been valuable at trial, possibly at least to add another peg of something. Right. Yeah. They said the failure to provide this information was prejudicial to the ability of the defendant to effectively cross-examine Michael Owings, which is absolutely true regarding his activities the evening prior. Also presented to the court was a report from Lieutenant Ken Barnes, who's with the sheriff's office, requested by the district attorney's office, which he states that a party may have taken place at Owings' girlfriend's house during the night in which Kopak was murdered. So there may have been other people there also.
Too many.
You're putting more people into the fucking mix.
Party.
Yeah. The evidence in question is also there's a pair of Reebok tennis shoes that they say belong to the victim, but weren't taken into custody the day of the murder. Now, the defense lawyer contends that the shoes that they have in a video of the crime scene are different from the ones presented to the court during the last part of the trial. Okay, this is crazy because they're saying that they're Reeboks, and there's a big they bring in a guy from Reebok to talk about this. It's fucking nuts here. Like, again, shoe prints would be a day.
Ridiculous.
On a whole episode, 2 hours on shoe prints. So Rogers here, the defense lawyer, had the photos of the shoes reproduced from the video, and in the photos it shows a black or dark blue pair of high-top shoes with a very light-colored sole. So they bring in a Reebok sales representative from Sacramento named Keith Derry, who says that he took all the still. He said that he looked at the still photos and all that sort of thing, and they had a regional meeting and stated that Reebok had never made a dark high top with a light colored sole. So they're saying that there can't be Reeboks.
We never made that shoe ever.
He added it was definitely not a Reebok shoe in the photo. He couldn't obviously answer whether the shoe or the photo had been altered, but he said that's not a Reebok, and they're saying there's Reebok prints in the thing, and that it's fucking ridiculous. This is what I mean. There's so many things. Also, the Barnes, the police officer, spoke with the manager of the apartment in question. She said that she had not had a problem with Owings at the complex between January 13th and February 28th, and that his girlfriend had moved on February 19th. The manager said that she had not received all the keys back to the apartment and that she did not know of any party that had taken place, but a noise similar to closet doors being slammed shut was reported on the morning that Kopech's body was discovered, coming from that supposedly vacant apartment, which is obviously strange. She said she heard that, so she went and looked at the apartment, and the manager of the apartment found unable to find anything out of the ordinary in this vacant apartment. So they might have cleaned it up so she wouldn't lose her security deposit. Now, the police, Barnes's report also went on to state that on that day, on June 10th, he spoke with another tenant who said he too heard noises coming from the vacant apartment in the very early morning hours. And then he also recalled seeing Owings between 4:30 and 5 p.m. the night before the murder, and then didn't see him after that. Okay. So he's been in the area. And then a third witness that was interviewed stated that he also heard noises coming from the apartment, but he didn't feel like there was noises like that were consistent with a party. He just heard noises. But either way, no one's supposed to be in this apartment. Right. Outstanding keys, some shit going on. It's all very suspicious.
Somebody saw him for sure.
A couple people definitely saw him. Also, Simmons team discovered that they finally discovered the Bradley interview, that he was interviewed by investigators the morning of the murder, and said that he lived 30 feet away and he slept on the side nearest to the Kopech trailer, and that his dogs barked quite a bit. He didn't know that conversation happened earlier because they never told him.
But the dogs did not bark that night.
But the dogs didn't bark that night. So this whole fucking shit is crazy. So they're done with the trial. This isn't.
This is a penalty phase.
This is penalty phase and pre-penalty phase. They're saying, hey, we want to have a continuance so we can try to basically get a retrial before you're even sentenced. Right. The DA opposes the request, stating that the defense was asked at the beginning of the trial if they were ready to proceed, and but they're saying, well, we didn't know this information existed because you fucking didn't give it to us. So how the fuck could we know that we weren't ready yet?
We would also like a continuance because we didn't think that this would fucking be possible for this to be the outcome.
This is insane.
This is crazy.
The DA says, quote, there comes a time when we have to get on with things. I don't know if this is the time. The defense lawyers described the witnesses as, quote, two individuals who are outraged at how the trial was handled, because they say they have new witnesses that are coming forward. At some point here, a district court judge asked both attorneys, isn't there some law that says at some time this trial has to be over? So they're kind of being a wise ass about the whole thing. They get a continuance, but then they end up sentencing him on August 2nd, 1993. Simmons' mother, Annalita Simmons, describes her son, try to get some sympathy for him, describes her as a sensitive, forthright, considering, caring child. She said, quote, he's a God-loving person, and I'm proud he's my son. They talked about all the...
you should read his article, son.
Well, she said at this point, quote, the question is he a murderer or not? Is he a Satanist? Yeah. Which is very fucking fair. Right. He gets on the stand and he gets up and pleads his case. Pleads for mercy. He says, quote, I did not kill Jason Kopech, and I asked that the court grant mercy and give me life with the possibility of parole so I can possibly start a new life over when the recommended time is over. Is what he says. He's 16.
That's a tough thing to say to a judge, though, when you were just convicted. You can't maintain your fucking innocence,
what he says.
Bro.
That's tough. Well, you have to for later for your appeals, but then that's what's so tough about it. Then you get a stiff sentence and then you're trying to appeal it.
I mean, just don't bring up the fact that you're innocent. Just be like, I'm begging you for this. Yeah. Because I got to try to get out of this mess.
Let's find out if the judge is as nice. The judge says, you, young man, I guess, I don't fucking know, may fuck off. You, child, may fuck off. Sentences him to double life in prison with no parole.
Oh, my God, that's steep.
A life sentence for the murder, and then it's doubled for use of the weapon in the murder.
Wow.
Double life sentence, no parole, to be conserved consecutively also. Now, that's life without parole. It's over. So just in case. So if he accidentally knocks somebody up through the mail or something, when that kid's born, he's done for. Life and forever. So consecutive life sentences with no parole.
Jesus.
Done for forever. Post-sentencing, the Kopech's father said, quote, age doesn't matter. He's old enough to know right from wrong. He said that Simmons was dangerous and a menace to society. And before delivering the sentence, by the way, the judge read excerpts from his writing, including the choicest from that excerpt I told you about before with all the Satan shit. And then he sentenced him. That was like his reason for sentencing.
He reread that.
He reread it to tell everyone that's why he's getting a lot, is because of that. So fucking nuts. It was the first murder case brought to court in Lyon County since 1972, which is fucking wild.
21 years?
21 years, and it was this judge's first murder trial in this County. Okay. So he's not used to this. He says, the judge said, quote, any life sentence in any rural county is unusual, which I guess so. So he will be evaluated, Simmons will, at the Reception Diagnostic Center at the state prison. They're going to figure out where to place him based on psychological shit, legal, social evaluation, his age. 1996 in March, he has an appeal. And on appeal, he assigns some error, obviously, on appeal. One was refusing to exclude the taped conversation between Simmons and Mike Owings. Two was admitting the book on witchcraft as part of the trial.
That's
which
so ridiculous.
So fucking stupid. And three was denying his motion for a new trial after he was convicted and before he was sentenced, that whole thing. Now, they talk about this. The state argues that Mike was not a state agent when he took the phone call from him, and incriminating statements that Simmons made to his friend were used as evidence without violating his right to counsel, because if he was an agent of the state, then Simmons would have a right to counsel, is what they were saying here. They said the state did not enter into any type of agreement with Mike or instruct him how to proceed other than tell him not to seek incriminating statements and entrap the kid, basically. They also said the witchcraft book, Simmons contends the book, Witchcraft is the name of the book, was illegally seized and should not have been admitted at trial because the book was not listed in the search warrant, and neither the plain view doctrine nor the good faith exception applies, which it does because it was out in the open, and they're trying to connect it to some horse shit. That should have been, that's so fucking ridiculous, man, that whole thing. Anything with a book, it's like, come on, man. Really?
What a fucking Fahrenheit 451 type of life. This is stupid.
It's so, there's books like, we've seen where killers have had books that were like literally how to kidnap and dismember and tie up women, and then they kidnapped and dismembered and tied up women. That's a different story
involved in this.
That's what I mean. That this is it's witchcraft.
So silly.
Give me a fucking break here. So the state maintained also about the fact that they didn't tell the defense about that Bradley neighbor's interview the morning of the murder. And the state maintains that the Bradley statement was immaterial because evidence was presented to the jury that the neighbors heard nothing out of the unusual, and that would have been dogs barking if then the dogs were barking. So it didn't matter, which is so stupid. They talk about the blood trails, like we said, large gunshot wound. They said the blue fibers matching the blood. Everything we talked about physical evidence wise that's the scene of the death is the trailer. There's no way he was dragged there. No blood in the snow, shit like that. They upheld the convictions of him, and that's pretty much it for him. The appeal produced, it's a 4-1 ruling in the appeal on the panel of judges here, which not even close. The majority said that Simmons had reportedly become preoccupied with Satanism, and he just wanted to kill him because of Satan.
4 of the 5 go, yeah, this was right.
That's what I mean.
Absolutely right.
The dissenting opinion, though, is fucking fire. This dude is on fucking fire. He is not taking any shit here. I'll read some choice excerpts from this guy here. He says, this is how it should be said. Quote, Simmons' conviction of first-degree murder is based almost entirely on the testimony of his teenage acquaintance, Mike, who claims Simmons admitted to him that he shot and killed Jason Kopak. The problem with Mike's story is that under the facts as they were unfolded as trial, Mike's story is impossible. Mike claims that Simmons told him on the night of the murder, Simmons walked up to the trailer home where Kopak lived, opened the door, shot Jason with a shotgun, walked back to his parked car, and drove home. The reason that Mike's testimony cannot be true is that there was snow on the ground the night of the murder, and in fact, in a number of respects, establishes irreconcilable inconsistencies in Mike's story. As an example of such inconsistency, police investigators at the scene were unable to trace footprints made in the snow on the night of the murder, which show that some person walked into the trailer home but not walk out of the trailer home. These footprints were the only footprints in the snow that surrounded the Kopak trailer home on the night of the murder. Whoever was walking into the trailer home on that snowy night did not walk out, not at least until the morning after the police investigators completed their investigation of the pristine murder scene. This and other doubts created in my mind by the inconsistency between Mike's rendition of Simmons' confession and the physical evidence at the murder scene prompted me to make a more careful inspection of the record in this case than I might have ordinarily made. After doing this, I came to the conclusion that a jury could not have properly reached a guilty verdict based on proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And he goes on and on and on, but this guy fucking lights it up. I mean, he says the biggest problem is trying to believe Mike's story is the snow. Simmons' father testified that he brushed snow off of both his and his wife's car, as they called the, quote, murder car in the trial testimony. On the morning following the murder, both cars had the same amount of snow. This indicates that no one, including students Simmons trot out of the Kopech trailer home the night of the murder and used a car. It's really, really fucking difficult to the Reeboks.
Based on the evidence that's at hand, you can't convict on this. This is crazy.
The other evidential concerns that cast doubt on the truth of Mike's testimony. The investigator who first found the snow prints at the scene testified he believed them to have been laid down by Reeboks. Simmons, however, customarily wore combat boots. He's more Docs back then, not Reeboks. Mike accommodatingly testified. This is the thing. Mike had, every but maybe he had an explanation for it. Mike did, which how does he know so much about everything? He said Mike accommodatingly testified that Simmons told him that on that particular night of the murder, he happened to be wearing Reeboks instead of his usual combat boots. That would be the 50th detail.
Why are you providing everything?
That's
Mike?
what I mean. Oh, I know what that was. He told me that night he was wearing Reeboks, as a matter of fact.
This is terrifying. I have a friend named Mike Owings, and I don't want to be friends with him anymore.
Whether Mike's testimony about what kind of shoes Simmons said he was wearing on the night of the murder is true or not, it's very difficult to tie these footprints in any way to Simmons.
Yeah.
Very true. The police investigator who discovered the one-way footprints did not bother to photograph or make a mold of the fucking prints.
Not one.
How do you not make a mold? As a consequence, he says, we do not know what kind of shoe laid down those shoe prints going into the trailer home or what size it was, because we don't. Very easy to tell at that point. Is it a size fucking 5? It's probably not him. This is what I mean. They didn't even photograph it. The whole Reebok thing, they're not even
They're just going with brand?
They're literally going, the investigator said he thought it looked like a Reebok, and they didn't take a picture or document it or anything, and then they're going, well, that kid has Reebok, so he killed him. That guy said it looks like a Reebok. Who knows if he said that looks like a Reebok after they found his fucking Reeboks? I mean, what are we doing? This is crazy shit. How does
a detective just know shoe prints, by the way? How does he just look at one and be like,
that looks like a Reebok.
What kind of sneakerhead they got working down there?
Because there was snow over it, in the Dana Gray case in California that we talked about. They had her Nike print, but you could see the swoosh in the fucking dust. You could see that's a Nike print, and they took copious photographs of it. I had a shitload of pictures of them.
Those generally stand out, that swoosh. A Reebok, Reebok's brand
Reebok.
is written, right? It's
exactly.
the letters.
So they said, the judge goes on, as a consequence, we do not really know what kind of shoe laid down the prints going into the trailer home or what size it was. The officer did go back to the scene. However, after he realized that he should have preserved the footprints, but by this time the original prints had been obliterated by the foot traffic of law enforcement personnel and the emergency personnel that had responded to the 911 call made by the father. Undaunted, the investigator proceeded to approximate the footprint that he had seen in the snow, and based on his recollection, testified not only the footprints were Reeboks, but that they resembled those pair of Reeboks that they found in Simmons' bedroom.
You can't do that.
Bullshit. You can't fucking do that. I'm sorry.
Not when life without is on the fucking table.
No, it's exactly right. And strangely, he also says officers found another single Reebok lying on the floor of the victim's trailer home next to the victim's body.
Okay.
What the fuck? And
so he owns those too.
Yeah, he said, I don't know the significance of this find because the shoe print that shoe has disappeared from evidence, and it, like the shoe prints, were never photographed. None of this shit was photographed. This is small town.
Inadmissible.
Fucking Jesus. Right. This is why we do small town murder, because this is infuriating, and I want to kick. I don't care who killed this kid at this point. I just want to kick every one of these cops in the dick. Get your fucking shit together.
In a big city, these fuckers are fired every day.
Every day. Well, this hasn't happened in 20 years. They don't have procedures. They don't have routines in place. They don't go in like Bunk and McNulty on the fucking wire, and you set up here and I get that, and they just never mind. So yeah, he says it was never photographed. He said the defense has understandably been very concerned about the disappearance of that Reebok found at the crime scene, and it has about the failure of the police to preserve any of the evidence as to the nature of the one-way footprints, which is a huge sticking point in this case for everybody. They said that a lot of this, if the jury were to believe that Simmons was not wearing his usual combat boots on the night of the murder, it's believed Mike's story that Simmons was wearing Reeboks of the kind the investigators remembered the footprints to resemble, then we arrive at a point where we might suspect that Simmons entered the trailer home on the night of the murder but never came out. Wow. So even if he wore the Reeboks you said he wore and those footprints were Reeboks, did he fly away?
Right.
Did he fucking literally beam back? Did Satan fucking make him grow wings so he could fly home?
Did he?
Is he Satan?
Is his D&D character, does it fly?
Does it fly? Let's check.
Happen?
That's what we need to get background on. See, this is the type of thing we check out if we had 10 parts of this fucking thing.
Netflix needs to figure this one out. This one's fucking crazy. crazy.
Maybe we need to figure this out. I don't know.
This is fucking
This is fucking crazy. This is we got to tell somebody about this. But yeah, this needs to be fully investigated. This is fucking crazy.
Re-looked at. Jesus.
They said this, of course, would be entirely inconsistent with Mike's story. Another permissible inference would be the one-way footprints were laid down by some occupant of the trailer home, someone other than Simmons, who entered the trailer home on that snowy night and remained in the trailer for the rest of the night.
Right.
So the judge is all but saying his father could have killed him.
Right.
I don't see any other way. He said, quote, in my judgment, once we get rid of, and he's a judge, by the way, once we get rid of Simmons.
In my ability to judge, because I'm a fucking judge.
That's kind of what I get paid for. People go, how'd you get this big house? You go, I'm judging a lot of shit.
Let's just say that. Fuck out of everything.
I will judge you right fucking now. Bring your kid up here. Let's see if he did anything bad. So he said, in my judgment, once we get rid of Simmons' supposed confession to Mike, the prosecution's case collapses and it becomes impossible for a jury to find guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And then he says, I'll go on to discuss other aspects of the case, which we'll talk about excessively briefly because we got to be done here in a minute. But he said, aside from the police investigators' recollection of the one-way footprints, what they might have looked like, the only other pieces of evidence that might place Simmons at the murder scene are a cigarette butt. Found at the scene, and an expended shotgun shell seized at Simmons' house. That's the one in the chamber.
Right.
The only reason that the cigarette butt has any significance in this case is that Mike reported that this is fucking funny. Mike told police that Simmons told him that he'd smoked a cigarette in the victim's father's car just before the shooting. So he said he got there. Mike says that Simmons told him he drove there in his own mother's car, got out, got into Jason's father's car, smoked a cigarette, then went inside wearing these Reeboks, killed him, and then flew away home on his Satan wings. That's the theory of the case at this point.
So did they find the cigarette in the car?
He says here, even if we're to assume that Mike's testimony about the cigarette butt is true, there's great doubt as to the value of this piece of evidence because, again, the snow enters the picture. Weather records show that it was either snowing or it just stopped snowing at the time the murder was committed, an estimated 1:20 p.m. on the morning of February 24th, 1994. The cigarette butt was not found by investigators when they first went to the crime scene.
1:20 a.m.
1:20 a.m., yeah.
Right.
The following, did I say p.m.? Sorry about that.
That's right.
On the following day, thank you, though, the investigators went back to the scene, deciding to do so because of Mike's statement to them that Simmons said he smoked a cigarette while outside in the Kopech residence. So the state then went back to look for a cigarette butt. They then found the cigarette butt to do DNA testing. DNA tests revealed that 11% of the population possessed that kind of cells that were retrieved at the cigarette butt. And by the way, both Simmons and Mike Owings fall into that category.
So this is nothing.
This is a mind fuck of epic proportions right here. So his father doesn't, though.
Right.
So what the fuck?
So it's not him that smoked that.
But how the fuck did someone get out of the fucking trailer? This is a mind fuck. This is what I've been doing. I'm going crazy. I'm so happy to tell all of you guys about this because I've been losing my fucking mind about this shit here. So, I mean, they talk about all this shit. They said that Simmons would have had to smoke the cigarette sometime prior to 1:20 and dropped it on the ground into either the still falling snow or the recently fallen snow. The forensic seriologist who conducted tests on the cigarette butt found traces of saliva would have been removed by contact with moisture or precipitation. According to their testimony, it's highly probable that any cigarette butt dropped into the snow on the night in question would have been so saturated with water the following day that all traces of saliva and DNA would have been gone. So they're saying shit got dropped the next morning, not the fucking night before. They came back. This guy said, oh, there's a cigarette butt. Then the cops went back and went, hey, we found this cigarette butt. And they said, oh, did he tell you about the Reeboks? It's like, this is fucking crazy. I don't know. I don't even know here.
There's too much that just doesn't solidify a yes.
No, that's what I'm saying.
There's way too much doubt. How did they convict on that?
They said the DNA evidence in this case doesn't reliably place him at the scene, doesn't reliably place anybody at the scene. It's fucking nuts. The only other piece of physical evidence in the case connecting Simmons to the murder scene is a 20-gauge shotgun seized at the trailer home of the Simmons. The shotgun contained an expelled federal shell in the chamber. The evidence here, though, is also problematic. He says the shell wad recovered from Jason's body came from a factory-loaded 20-gauge shell. The primer in the gun's expended shell, however, was that of a reloaded shell.
Got it.
In fact, every single shell found at the Simmons home was a reloaded shell. Not a single factory-loaded shell was discovered anywhere.
Oh, good thing they were cheap.
Yeah, cheap as fuck, thank God. That's what I just thought, too. I was like, that father being a cheap bastard is really helping a lot.
Saving
well, it's
his
not,
balls
because
right now.
he's still in jail.
Right.
The state tried to put together in a way with non-factory. The state tried to put together a way in which non-factory primer might be found in a factory-loaded shell. However, an expert witness testified he did not believe a primer could have come out of a factory-loaded shell and been replaced with a non-factory primer. It's not likely that Jason was killed with a federal shell, which contained a factory wad, which is not distributed to the public for reloading.
Right.
You can't reload those, only the factory ones, and a non-factory primer. Those two don't go together. Thus, it appears highly probable that the shell in the gun seized at the Simmons house was not the one that killed Jason. Because a shotgun does not leave distinctive markings, no ballistics for that, the way other kinds of guns do.
Slug.
Yeah, you can't. Right. Yeah, just that's why Omar uses fucking shotguns.
Omar.
That's what he says.
That's a smart
That's why.
move.
Yeah. So you can't be tracing my pumpkin balls, is what he says.
Oh,
fuck
that
around.
is clever.
That's clever. He's a clever motherfucker. So no ballistics. The judge says, quote, what we are left with then is the fact that Jason was killed with a 20-gauge shotgun shell and that the 20-gauge shotgun was seized at Simmons' home. But the shell that was in the gun was almost certainly not the shell that expelled the projectiles that killed Jason. Yeah. So what the fuck? And one more doubt that casts one more fact that casts doubt on the theories, state's theory of the case, is the claim that the shotgun had been stored in Simmons' parents' bedroom closet. If this were the case, he says Simmons would have had to have crept into his parents' bedroom after midnight without waking his parents, removed the shotgun, then replaced it when he returned after the shooting. That's the other thing. He would have had to do all of that, which is all very hard to do. If you remember sneaking around as a teenager, you weren't going to, if you were going to steal the car and sneak out, you weren't going to first sneak into their closet and take something, especially something large.
Especially a gun. Fuck,
dark,
large, a gun.
Yeah, and it makes noises when you hold it. It's, that sort of thing here. So he said, although it would not be impossible for a teenager to creep undetected into his parents' bedroom and remove something from the closet, it seems unlikely in this case because Simmons' mother, Annalea, testifies that she suffers from fibromyalgia, which causes her to experience chronic muscular pain, and she testified that night that she had been up, it had been a particularly restless night and was frequently in and out of bed and had great difficulty sleeping. It's unlikely, given her fitful condition, that he would have been able to get a shotgun out without his wife noticing. So that is the appeal on that, or that's the dissenting opinion. The response from the state, the other judges, you should hear the other judges be like, well, what the dissent does not take into account. The only thing that they really talk about as far as in like what he didn't get right was they talk about they bring up Simmons' little sister's testimony that was all over the place, which she was like 12 and fucking
she's
in the middle of the night
based on age alone.
Yeah, who knows if she mixed one night up with another night. I mean, who the hell knows here. They also talk about the father walked out in the living room and didn't detect any gunpowder, which I don't understand how that's good for. I don't know how that's bad for Brian Simmons. That doesn't make any sense to me. And they said that the dissent also views the failure of Sonia Sachs to see tire tracks in the snow at the area of the school where Simmons allegedly parked his mother's car. They use that as a thing, but they said aside from the fact that Sachs left work between 4:45 and 5:15 when it would have been dark, and the differing intensity of the snowstorm could have resulted in tracks left in a light snow that were covered up by a heavier snow, but like we said, it was you can see a pristine parking lot. You just can't. You see when there's indentations from snow, and you especially see it in the dark with headlights on.
For sure.
That's when you see it more.
Shadows like crazy.
Exactly. Right. In the day, you see it way less.
You could see a fucking pine cone buried in snow. That's what I mean. It's crazy.
They're trying to act like that's a disadvantage for her seeing snow, but it's actually, if you've ever fucking driven in snow, you know that you see everything in the snow, every little track, everything. Because like you said, shadows. It's all shadows. So this is Simmons told him, the testimony also, they said They're talking about Mike Owings' testimony here, also indicating that Simmons told him that he would use his mother's car. However, Mike also testified that Simmons told him that he had a little Toyota, but that Mike had never seen Simmons drive the car. Mm-hmm. So now they're saying that Mike all of a sudden now remembers that Brian said he also had another car. Not saying that that's awfully convenient for Mike to remember that now. They say, well, that's evidence that Brian must have done it because he used that car that Mike just remembered.
This is nuts.
Can't be Mike that did anything or it was whatever. We're not accusing Mike of anything. Like I said, this isn't to make wild accusations of people.
Mike's stories just are shit and convenient.
Yeah, this is just, dude, this is just one of these cases where I feel like this has to be fucking looked at closer. And this, I'm telling you guys, like normally your bigger cases and anything that anyone has noticed or has been out a lot, it's on like Murderpedia has just about probably -3 of them. Just about every case we covered. You can see the bones of it on Murderpedia. And then you got to dive a lot deeper, obviously.
Word you used.
Yeah, not bad. But this isn't even on Murderpedia. I had to search for murder appeals in this state and be like on page fucking 9 before I came up with this case. And then I had to read the case and be like, what the fuck is going on in here? And I was like, I never heard of Dayton, so that's a small town. Perfect. We'll do that. And then this whole shit comes up.
And it's awful.
And as I'm doing it, I'm like, what the normally we have a cut and dry. And I apologize, everybody, if you wanted a cut and a dry, and that's usually how we do it.
I mean, if you like justice and you wanted it, you got it because it's there.
It's something.
Apparently. Yeah.
So, I mean, but that's this case. That's Dayton, Nevada. That's the Simmons and Kopech and Mike Owings. He's still in prison, this kid. After that appeal in 96, I've really seen nothing else about him.
This is a kid in his 40s now.
He's in his 40s. He's been in jail for 15. Maybe he killed him. Like, we don't have any idea, but it hasn't even been fucking looked at.
Unbelievable.
And I feel like, I don't know, man, someone should look at this shit. And not us, because we're not qualified for this. I don't know how to do this. Well, I mean, we're not cops. We're not.
I could call him.
We've said a million times. We're not journalists. We're not attorneys. We're not police officers. We're not private investigators. We're none of this shit. We're comedians.
We tell dick jokes.
And we tell dick jokes, and then we find something like this. And we're like, oh, God, I wish I had skills that would help a lot with this.
Wish I knew some law stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if we had a team around us and if we had, I don't know, like a Netflix show that had it, it would probably fucking work.
People like that behind us.
I don't know, man. This is this is fucking more messed up than making a murder or anything like that. And I'm not saying we're joking around to pitch a show, but this is just seriously messed up. I'd like somebody. Oh, yeah, we'll take it. Don't get us wrong. We'll take the fucking paycheck.
I'm just saying there is less evidence that convicts this kid in this case than that fucking son boy in Wisconsin.
Oh God, yeah.
That creepy transparent fuck looks guilty in comparison to this.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
holy shit.
You can explain shit with him like, oh, why this is off the charts bullshit. Like I don't, and it might not even be bullshit. Like we said, he might be guilty.
Right.
We don't know, but the way they convicted him,
not good.
They did not find him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. No way in the world.
That's not justice.
That is absolutely not justice, and I don't even know what to say about that. It's the first time we've really had that.
Deserves it.
He deserves it.
I mean, justice, not to be dead.
No, he deserves justice, and no one should sit in jail from the time they're 15 to the time they're in their 40s on a questionable thing. Ugh. Either way, you didn't make your case, prosecution. Whether he killed him or not, I call it a false conviction, even if he did it, because you didn't prove it.
Get back to work, you lazy
So somebody get to work on this, and I don't even know if there's any appeals left or any way to handle this, or if I'm sure there's, like I said, Adnan got all this after all this time, but somebody needs to look into this anyway. So that's small town murder.
Unbelievable.
No one's going to sleep well tonight, I'm sure, knowing that who knows, anything could happen.
There could possibly be a murderer out there.
Someone could be
a dude named Mike Owings, and I know a guy named Mike Owings.
It could be. You could have Satanists creeping around the snow and flying away from your trailer, or maybe your father or your friends, or who the hell knows who's going to kill you. But someone's going to kill all of us. If you like that show, and if it doesn't bother you that you'll be murdered for sure within the next 6 months, I'm positive most of you will be. Please go to iTunes and give us 5 stars and tell us
before you're murdered.
Before you're murdered. That's what I mean. Don't hold off. So you could be murdered any fucking day now. And give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. It's not for our egos. It's really just for business. And also, if you want to do another thing, I mean, you're going to be murdered anyway. You're not going to need the money. So go over to patreon.com/crime-and-sports. Yeah, give us a donation if you really feel like it. Or head over to PayPal, make a one-time donation. Probably want to do that because you'll be dead, so your Patreon donations will go away in a few months.
So cancel that card.
That's what I mean. And then we're not going to get any more. So make a one-time donation. I believe you can donate your estate if you have nobody else. Do that over at PayPal using our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com. smalltownmurder@gmail.com. You can find Small Town Murder all over social media, at Murder Small on Twitter, Small Town Pod on Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram, all over the place, or make it easy on yourself, and you can go to all these places in one spot by going to shutupandgivememurder.com, where you can see everything. You can buy merch. You can follow us on social media, make donations. It's all right there. And you'll be looking for our tour dates, which we will be announcing the dates next week.
Yes.
But obviously today we gave you the cities. All those people in those cities, please buy tickets because the venues are terrifying.
It's really intense.
It's intense. We don't want to fail.
We have to put on the line for this is
crazy.
Really, it would make you shake.
It really would,
because it makes me shake.
Me too.
So you guys buying tickets and coming to see us and hanging with us, it means fucking everything to us.
Absolutely.
And we don't leave like fucking the guy from Snatch says. We don't leave till the job is done.
That's it, man. We
aren't leaving. If you guys want to hang out, we'll hang out. Even
if the venue starts saying we got to go, we'll go out on the sidewalk and show. We've done it multiple times before. We don't care.
To shut up. These people bought tickets.
We'll say sidewalk party, and we'll go out there and we'll hang. So we don't care, man. We thank you guys for everything that you do for us. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for getting these tickets and just supporting us and allowing us to go this far with it. Thank you guys so much. And Jimmy, why don't you tell us a list of the people who we are thanking more than so much? Hit me with that list, Jimmy.
This week's executive producers are Gavin McFarland, Frank Tripati. Tripati.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Tripati. I like Tripati. Hey, Frankie Tripati.
I figure he's super Italian.
The problem is he comes like Paul Calhoun to clean out your shit pipes, and it's a competition.
Right.
So,
we got to keep him on the low.
That's right.
But he's a great man.
Thank you.
Jackie Schumacher, TJ Daly, Michael Stein, Melanie Steinley.
Oh,
yes. It's Steinley.
She's
definitely.
wonderful. Thank you.
Craig Cole and Greggy J. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you
Appreciate
so much
very,
for
very
everything.
Much.
Thank you.
Milena Slater. Is that an A? Fuck. I think it is. Milena Slater. Vincent Giardelli. Yes.
Thanks, Paisan.
Kate Ives, Kelly Higby, Sean Hartley, Kate Myers, Rachel Pack, Colleen Shambaugh. Yes, Shambaugh.
Cool.
It's probably Shambaugh.
All right.
Whatever.
We'll take it.
Owen Witherspoon, Preston Letterman, Paul Ruest, of course. Amanda McKelvey, thank you again. Amy Nicole upped her donation. Thank you, Amy.
So much. We appreciate
Catherine Brinker, she also upped hers, I believe.
Jeez, thanks,
Under the
guys.
Sea Fabrics, Janae Compton, Eric Mauger, Jesse Hartman. Again, every week that guy comes through.
Thank you so much.
Paul Saunders, Rachel Kiskaden, Richard Rose, Donna Sittler. I almost called her Shitler. That wasn't very nice.
No. She's probably been called that before.
I'm sure she has.
Yeah.
J. Bart Carpenter, Todd Crago, Alex East, Lucas Minton says some terrible things about me, and then gave us money. That was nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lucas.
Yeah. I remember that one. That was funny.
That's kind of a dicky thing to say to me.
Okay. And then fucking, but here's some money.
Here's some cash.
Okay.
So we'll make it all better.
It was like Sonny Corleone beat you up and broke your camera and then threw a couple of fucking bucks
Buy
on
a
it.
new camera.
Hey, clean yourself up, kid. I kind of admire that. So good job, Sonny.
Zulamar Lucina,
Cool.
Samantha Borgie, Bryant Toole, Jay Mullins. I don't know what the J stands for, but thank you.
Thank you.
Laura Menson. Yeah, it is Menson. Damn it. Margie Coonsey, she's terrific.
Yeah,
she's
she
been around
is.
for so
Thanks,
long.
Margie. She's been with us since the start.
Victoria Jernigan, Brittany Nichols, Emma Cossin. It's Cossin. Yeah.
Okay.
Paula Sala. Fucking damn it.
Paula Sala, fucking damn it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ,
Paula
that's a name.
Salamanca. That's
there
a name.
You go.
That's a damn
That's
name.
a good name.
That's tough.
It's a nice
John
name.
Love or Lowe. I think it's Lowe. That's right. Holly Hoffman, Laura Wood, Eric Waters, William McLean, Connie Christian, and Connie actually wanted me to say happy birthday to Kyler Christian.
Well, happy birthday,
that's
Kyler.
What she wanted me to do.
Happy
Thank
birthday
you, Connie.
to you.
Yeah. Fuck. Hannah Simmons. I've lost my place with a happy. Brianna Danu, Elin Forsland. Yes, Forsland. It's too close.
You
to
almost
foreskin.
said foreskin.
It's
I can
too close.
see your eyes
It's too
going,
close.
please don't say foreskin.
It's
Please
not
don't say
fair.
foreskin.
That's too close. And she's probably dealt with that her whole fucking
sure.
life. I'm sorry, Elin.
Yeah.
Lucky Jean, Monj Sanga, who's going through some tough stuff. So
sorry, Monj.
thanks
We
for
love
being
you,
around,
brother.
Monj.
Hey, Monj, we got your back
You're
always, man.
fantastic, buddy.
You are the man, Monj.
Rose Slingluff, yes, Rose Slingluff. Dave Anderson, Craig McGeechan, I think I said that already. Laura Laura Yarnell, Leah Kelly, Ted Cyrus, Willie B, Sean Hartley, Jess Landgren's going through some shit too. And
hey, sorry to hear that,
bummer.
Jess.
It's really nice.
All of our favorite people, damn it.
You guys reach out and tell us when you're having struggles.
I know Tiffany Robertson does that too about the her struggles and everything.
Nice to have
and
you guys around and we're pulling
thank you guys.
You.
Yeah, we're here for you if you need us. Well, we really probably can't help you at all, but we'll make 5 hours a show and hopefully you'll laugh a little.
I'll give you 10 minutes of banging on
and
a keyboard to tell you I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's good.
Barbara Felker, Ben Sidri, Jess Landgren, Barbara Felker. I said that. Why do I keep doing that same
What is
line?
wrong with you?
I'm like a stroke.
Get your head out of your ass,
Daphne
Jimmy.
Jean Baptiste, Yasmin Chaudhry, Holly Barnes, Jake LeBeer, Axis Apparel. I don't know what that is. I didn't Google it, so
Google it up,
Apparel,
fuckers.
Send us some shirts, you fuckers.
Yeah, there you go.
Key Sardi, Lewis Tiedrick, yes. Michaela Smith, Melissa Coyle, Ariana Folsom. She tells me to tell you guys to Google her. I don't know what that means. Maybe she's on a porn site.
Google her.
Go Google.
Who knows?
Maybe she, her boobs.
Or maybe she has a candle company. We have no idea.
It's possible.
One or the other. Yeah. Either boobs or candles. You're going to find one or two.
Either way,
on
your house will smell nice.
True.
Eric Michael Showers, I guess he does. Kim Shang, who I imagine is Asian. I'm guessing just
Kim Shang.
Yeah, it's becoming very fun to guess the.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Asian on now. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I'm going to say Asian.
Todd Miller, Cameron Blanche, Nathan Little, Donna Birch, Kelsey Hebert's back. Thank you, Kelsey.
Thanks, Kelsey.
Crystal Dinger, Sarah Shafalo, Marcus White, that's what it is. Ashley Vio, Alex Eldridge, Jesse Wilson, Zachary Cornell, Corin M, Amy Crawford, Margaret Essig, Sauerkraut, which is fucking amazing.
Which is delicious.
And Chuck Cook. And if you guys want to see me at the Tell Some Dumb Dick Jokes, if you're in Phoenix, you can find me at the House of Comedy this weekend with Jesse May Peluso. Come out and hang out.
Thank you, folks. Yeah. Again, amazing. And every dime you give us is so appreciated. Yeah. It keeps the lights on, guys. You have no idea. Life happens and things happen. And you guys really, really, it seems like whenever we're in need of something or down from something, it's just there.
Somehow it comes back.
Somehow, you guys, it's like and we can't thank you enough for that. So
plane flights and hotels are coming up, and you guys are fucking amazing.
Thank you, guys.
So thank you.
So we love you so much. Thank you for everything you do for us. And what if somebody wanted to thank you for everything you do for them, Jimmy? How could they tell you that?
You can find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, and find me there. Yeah, that's where it is.
Like, where else am I? I don't know. Shit, you were about to give out your address and your phone number and shit. It was my license plate number.
My social security number is. That's where I'll be.
Hey, you can find me at Jimmy P is funny anywhere like that, or you can copy and paste my last name from the show description because no one wants to spell Pietragallo.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one. So do all of that. Find us everywhere. Keep coming back. Buy those damn tickets. Keep an eye out for tour dates. Next week, everything will be live and you can do pre-sales and all that kind of stuff. But never mind all of that, everybody, because until next week, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.